Hello and welcome to the Saladcast on Saturday the 7th of April 2012. I'm your host Dan Train, joining me today, Robert Kemp. And Zachary Burgess.
We're all full of sand and horse.
Sand and horse. Absolutely stuffed full of sand and horse.
Yep.
There was another mysterious ingredient we came across, wasn't there? Also equally disgusting. Oh, glue.
Well, there was grout.
Oh, yeah,
Grout. I just wanted to finish it off with a dessert that contained a pineapple cheesecake and maple syrup.
Yeah, what was it? A pineapple cheesecake, maple syrup, calzone.
Calzone. Yes, so this is the fine foods on offer from various foods restaurants.
From Domino's Japan, translated into English by Google.
By Google, yeah.
Do so, it's hilarious.
Well, where did we start? Pizza Hut, didn't we?
Yeah, because you accidentally, when we were trying to order pizza, went to the American site first. And then someone said, we should get a Pizza Hut Japan.
Zach or someone.
Zach or someone.
And the three people here. I can't remember who it was.
Someone else in the corner of the room at the time.
Yeah.
It was like, we should try out Pizza Hut Japan. They do crazy shit, like the Kit Kat pizza. And it's like, well, let's have a look then. And there was no crazy shit. But it was just funny reading the translations. They did have Idaho a lot.
Yeah. I'm actually disappointed there was no Kit Kat pizza or equivalent craziness.
There wasn't much mentality going on. They like camembert.
Apparently.
They didn't even have a Hello Kitty pizza.
A Hello Kit
and,
Kat.
horse and sand flavours. Just not so good.
Filled with the horse. And bulgogi.
And rumblings.
And rumblings and roughing.
Roughing,
yeah. That was great.
everyone's favourite topping.
Plenty of roughing.
Topping toppings.
Yes, on top of the toppings. And then we saw that they had stuffed crust, but rather than cheese, they had sausage in the crust. And we thought, wow, only in Japan. Then we went over to the British side to order our pizza. They totally had it. And then you ordered it.
Success.
What's it like?
Not that great.
Good God, it's like one slice was enough of that. It's just so... It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a hot dog sausage.
Yeah.
Like around the rim of the pizza.
And it's like, hot dogs at the best of times.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that kind of Frankfurtery...
Yeah, rubbery
sausage meat. No, that wouldn't be my choice.
And also, they failed to put very much barbecue sauce on my pizza.
Oh,
which
no.
didn't help.
Was it barbecue pizza?
Yeah, it was meant to be barbecue instead of, tomato.
Yeah.
But there was virtually none on there.
Oh, so
there was just like
the
tiny
base
pockets with barbecue sauce.
Occasional splash.
Barbecue dribblings.
Yeah, exactly.
Hut dribblings.
Dribbling straight from the hut.
Rumblings.
Indeed. So,
Here is...
video games.
And...
this!
S!
Does anyone have any news? Perhaps from the land of Japan? I don't know.
Actually, I'm pretty dry on these last 2 weeks.
I'm sure there was something I was going to say, but I've already forgotten it.
Were you going to talk about Eve and PAX and...
Well, that was sort of what I've been playing, so maybe.
Okay.
We'll get to that. Not just announced he's making another game.
A space thing game.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot like the game they're already making with the spaceship where you have to put out fires in your ship and stuff and manage your crew and stuff. It sounded a bit like that. But is he trying to make it more elite-y? I don't know.
I don't know.
Does that have... Is that the name? Is that unpronounceable?
Yeah,
it's 10 to the C.
10 to the C.
Yeah.
Is that... OX means the following is in hex, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, in code, but I don't think then 10 to the C.
No, I think that...
Or is that it? Is it like...
C is the speed of light.
What, like 2 to the power of C? Is that what it really is? 2C?
2 to the power of C.
Maybe.
So if it equals
Oh, no, wait, no, it wouldn't be
squared...
hex. No, if it's in hex side, that's 16.
That's squared.
No. I was reading it in binary, so it's 16 to the power of C.
Yeah, that's right.
But couldn't C be the hex digit as well?
Yes.
C is just a...
No, it is. Yeah, he was right. It would be 12, I think. So it's 16 to the power of 12.
Or something.
Or something. Anyway, it's a new game from Notch, supposedly.
Maybe.
If he can be bothered to make it.
Yeah. He's been on holiday long enough. Time to get back to work.
It's like, yeah, occasionally.
Because he passed off Minecraft onto that other guy, who is still doing a pretty good job of updating it,
the guy with the cat.
Yeah.
As I know him now.
Yeah.
Because when he took over the project, the one picture of him was him and his cat.
Yeah. And then like Scrolls or whatever was sort of like this other team, and now he's like they're going. I'm going to go back and do this other thing.
So does he just create intellectual properties now? He's like a new Peter Molyneux guy. He's like, we'll have this crazy idea. And...
Except maybe this will be like his baby. Like he'll do it Minecraft style. Like just do it himself.
Well,
but then nothing will happen with it.
No, but maybe he'll get it off the ground.
Like, yeah, he does well at the start. He just doesn't do well at the end. I think.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Then he's doing the right thing then.
Yeah. I was about to say maybe he's realised that, and he's like, I think I'll do the same thing with this one.
Mm.
This is how I work, bitches.
Come up with something cool.
Although I think there's been some kind of rumour that it might he might want to do a monthly fee for it or something, like it might be an MMO style, which would be weird.
I heard it was going to be possibly an MMO style.
That doesn't seem that doesn't seem like something he'd do. I don't know.
Well, it'd probably be internet.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'll probably have some kind of multiplayer.
Yeah, because Minecraft has got lots of online stuff, right?
Yeah, well.
Servers.
It's got Minecraft online.
Yeah.
There's not really much you can do to that.
You can like collaborate and build shit or build your own stuff on different areas of the server and trade for resources, I guess.
Yes, get some ridiculous mods in there so you can do totally stupid things like actually create a money system.
Well, presumably this space game would be built for mods.
Maybe.
Somewhat.
I don't know. It's sort of like they had a big... They had a sort of argument about whether, like, how much mod support Minecraft should have in the end. Where it's like, I maybe don't want all these people doing these things to my game, but then if I stop them, everyone will be pissed off. And then we keep taking things that were mods and putting them into the game anyway, like pistons.
All these space games, like, there seems to be a resurgence in space games, like, which is great because I love, like, X-Wing and Free Space 2 and all that stuff. But all the new ones seem shit. Like, even the ones in development don't seem that great.
Define space game. Do you mean, like, actually in space?
No, like Space Simulator, I guess, or, like, I know the Notch one is more kind of elite style, and it's more a bigger spaceship than a fighter or whatever. But I just mean...
Space combat?
Yeah, space combat, I guess, rather than... I don't mean 4X, or... Is it 4X?
4X.
Yeah.
It's a beer.
Expand, explore, explode, and...
Not quite sure that's it.
I don't know, whatever the other ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sins of a Sailor Empire or whatever. Isn't that one of those? Yeah.
Making some guy... I'm not sure, it's like... It wasn't entirely clear whether that's a new one or whether it's an expansion.
I think it's like a halfway house.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Like a re-release, but with more stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but... I saw a Kickstarter the other day, and it was a guy who used to work for LucasArts, and he was trying to make... He's saying, yeah, we'll make a new space game. But all his, like, concept art and the name and everything about it just seemed terrible. And it's like, damn it, I would actually possibly give money if it looked like it was going to be an awesome new space game. But it didn't. It looked like... I even downloaded and tried... Well, I was going to try. There's a fan-made Wing Commander game based on the Free Space 2 engine.
Oh, yeah, we talked about this before.
Wing Commander Saga or something.
Did that ever get finished?
Apparently, it's out.
Oh.
You can download it for free, and it has the whole... You don't need to have anything installed, because it's all bundled in one thing.
Do you not mean the Battlestar, not Wing Commander? Sorry.
No, this is actually Wing Commander, and this is finished. The Battlestar one never got finished, I don't think. So, yeah. But I know nothing about Wing Commander, but I was like, yay, space, free space. And it's like, but I went on the tutorial mission, and I was just flying towards a nav point for, like, literally 5 minutes, just... Nothing happening, just going straight forward. Eventually an enemy fighter appeared. I was like, this is lame. But then I read the Rock Paper Shotgun article said the tutorial is a lot older than the actual game and it really shows. I was like, okay, maybe if I could just get past this. But I couldn't be bothered. I was like, not right now. I don't want to just... I want epic space battles. I don't want to just fly towards a nav point for 10 minutes.
Well, it's like the very first mission of, what was it called, Project Sylphid or something, which was like squares... take on the space shooter.
Right.
It was a sky of neon with nothing but lasers everywhere. It's like where you can't tell what the fuck is going on the entire game, but it's like, at least they tried.
Yeah.
It certainly looked cool. Even if it played like turd.
I suppose the trouble is that just the number of controls in Free Space 2, you just can't...
That is the other thing, it's like they don't really map well to... they've never mapped particularly well to console games.
I'm sure you could do the targeting, because there's so many buttons that's just related to targeting, and I'm sure there's a more elegant way you could do it with, like...
Voice commands!
Radial menus or some shit, I don't know. Voice commands, yeah.
Target that guy!
Target that guy right there, yeah. But it's like, there's commands for nearest hostile, nearest person attacking you, nearest enemy bomber, nearest friendly, nearest escort ship, next
not just
friendly.
Nearest,
previous
the next
friendly.
Variants.
Yeah,
all with various combinations of shift and alt.
You can cycle through. Yeah, it's crazy. Attack my target. Form up on me.
Find escort ship.
Find escort, defend this escort ship. Like orders that you have to give, and it's like...
Those are all pointless anyway.
Well, I usually mapped attack my target to like a joystick button because it was important to get
that was like the only one that mattered.
Yeah. Concentrate on this thing, dudes. I'll deal with everything else. But there was a lot of find nearest bomber, destroy the bombers before they get to launching range of your capital ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And then once they have, you had to chase down the torpedoes that they fired, trying to shoot them out of the sky.
Did you actually mention what game you're talking about here? Is this Free Space?
This is actually true in Free Space
game.
And in X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. Okay. They were basically the same in that respect. Although, I think the target nearest bomber command was only in Free Space, which meant that you had to cycle through to find the bombers. Because
I do remember you doing that when I used to watch you play, like, the X-Wing and TIE Fighter series, where you just sitting there going...
where's the bomber? There it is. Shoot the bombers. Yeah. Oh, and it had that, X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter had that incredibly loud, you are being locked onto, sound effect. Yeah. Whenever A-Wings were involved, they'd just get a constant lock warning.
Yeah. That's probably better than the one in Battlefield. God damn, that's quiet. It's like...
What, you are locked?
Quiet.
And then, well, it's made even harder by the fact that when they actually fire the missile at you, it gets quieter because it turns into...
Sort of.
Yeah, that got really loud when they fired on you. Yeah. It's not even going to pick up on this podcast. I still need to get Battlefield and check it out, but I don't know if it's going to be worth the value for money.
What?
Well,
of course it is. By Rob's pound per hour ratio,
the old pound per hour ratio.
It's doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, how many hours have you?
I'm like 40 or 50, but that's nothing compared to Zach. So
it's not that much less. I don't think.
Is that?
Well, not compared to Team Fortress.
Well, no, true.
No,
or even like older Battlefields, like 2042 or whatever.
Well, how many hours are you in Team Fortress? It's like 1,600. Yeah.
Good.
That's right.
God.
That's a pound per hour, that is.
That's a pound per
I thought about that the other day. I was like, Rob says that it's like a pound an hour, so maybe I should just go into the store and spend like £1,500. Let's even this out.
Yeah, you probably should. Well, it's worth that much. I think a pound per hour is quite a good value for most entertainment, isn't it?
Definitely. If they hit that mark, it's satisfying.
It costs a lot more. I mean, a film of 2 hours is like, what, £8 or something?
A lot of admission tickets are for that.
If you buy a DVD box set, that's how many hours? I don't know, maybe 20? And that might cost... Well, if you're lucky, that'll cost 20 quid. If it's in a sale, usually it's more like 50.
60. Yeah. Or like some come out at like 70, don't they? When they're on Blu-ray release.
They do. Yeah, but they have to be heavily discounted to be close to the pound per hour of a good game.
Yeah, games are bargainous.
Yeah, well, they are in many ways.
Well, a lot of them are anyway.
I mean, I bought Mass Effect 3 for what, 40 quid, whatever is the only price because you have to buy it on Origin or whatever. Oh, although I suppose
I saw it's down to 30 now on Origin.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Sweet. My lad of waiting is saying on.
Yeah.
My lad of not sufficiently caring.
Yeah, okay. And, but yeah, that'll be worth it, won't it? There'll be almost a pound per hour. Not quite, but it will be at 30, definitely.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. unless you speed through it like a demon. But yeah.
There are some games where you probably should. You realise you've bought a turkey. Doesn't happen very often, but you know.
Speaking of which, Duke Nukem.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. News!
That was actually for £3. That was surprisingly enjoyable.
There was more info on those SimCity agent things spinning, going through the city, but it's basically the same as what we already
said. They didn't really explain anything much, do you?
No. I've been reading about Assassin's Creed 3 and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
was it called Connor?
Connor, yeah.
They had to come up with the most cliche American name, really.
Connor. Well, he's supposed to be like a half Navajo Indian or something, isn't he?
Connor McPatriot.
So they should have called him like I don't know, Sitting Bull or something. And he's got to have an Indian name, right?
He does have an Indian name. It's just like super unpronounceable, so everyone just goes with the American name.
No, I mean a name based
what,
on...
you mean a stupid Indian
Bulls.
name
Yeah,
that like super cliched?
Yeah, well
they probably didn't want to do that because of that. It's like super racist or something nowadays.
It's not racist, that's why they really did it.
Yeah, they really... It's like... Yeah, but that's just because it's
not just Hollywood.
Everyone did it. Everyone like used that as the cliche for so long. It's become like a racist thing almost. Just because it's right, it doesn't mean it's not. Just because Japanese people mix up L and R all the time doesn't mean it's not racist to take the piss out of it.
If he's free running with his hidden vein, he should be called Runs with Scissors or something.
I like Swims with Hobos.
Swims with Hobos. That's great. Yeah, sorry. But yeah.
Spits on chicken.
I'm definitely more interested in that than the previous... Well, I'm not going to play Revelations, so skip straight to 3. It's been in development this whole time.
You said you won't know what the Revelations were.
Yeah, but they obviously weren't any good Revelations.
Well, I
That's
have
a lie.
Those 2 now. So
Oh, do you have Revelations? Well, you can let me know how it goes.
Yes.
Have you got it on Xbox?
Yes.
Well, I could borrow it if you weren't playing it, I suppose. But
I've got Brotherhood to work through first, so it's possible.
Yeah, okay, I don't know.
It's going to take forever.
Yeah,
that's fine.
You're never going to catch up.
Well, my income
You're going to be like
down,
2 days behind.
So it's fine. I've got plenty of free games to play.
That's true. Yeah, but 3 is looking quite nice. It looks like there's going to be a huge woods, sort of Red Dead Redemption style tall trees area, and like they've somehow managed to adapt the free running of climbing buildings into climbing, running, jumping, climbing trees. No putting on makeup while you're up there. But
I wonder if there'll be like a lot of crazy like
forks
little like 1-step hops off trees, so you can sort of like fly almost like Crouching Tiger style by going hop, 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 hop.
And it's got like crazy seasonal weather that makes a difference to your navigation of the terrain, because when it's snow-covered ground, you can't run across it. You have to wade through it unless you jump up into the trees. But apparently it has advantages, like it makes movement really quiet, so... Although that doesn't make sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
Snow is really crunchy, right?
Yeah, especially if it's not crusty snow.
Yeah.
Crusty.
But it's going to have a lot of, like, animal interaction, almost Red Dead style, but probably a lot more advanced skinning stuff than just... That's the
skinning mini games.
Yeah, possibly.
Why would you want? It's like, what are you going to get out of that? You're going to start like assassin clothing, where you're going to start crafting shit.
I don't know what you're going to do with it. Apparently, like if you shoot it with a pistol, you get a crap quality hide. Whereas if you get up close to it and slit it with a knife, then you get a nice clean pelt or something. I don't know.
Maybe they're like temporary coats that for some reason degrade.
Some unknown reason.
So you need to keep killing shit.
But there are cities, of course. There's Boston and New York, I think. Would be the main ones.
I was about to say, because the game's not going to lend itself too well,
no.
I don't think, to sort of being out in the open. It's like...
well, there's a lot
Hello, I'm here.
Apparently like 30% of
everyone come and see my shining white cloak in the middle of nowhere.
Well, blend in with the snow if there's snow. But yeah, it's like 30% of the missions will be in this wilderness area, supposedly. So... Plus, there's more Desmond than ever, they're saying.
Much
outside.
More Desmond. Goddamn Desmond.
Hello, my name is Desmond.
Yeah, but yeah, about time, because they've been teasing this thing of, he's learning how to be an assassin through these experiences in the Animus, and it's bleeding. There's a bleeding effect, and he's becoming awesome, and then you run away every time.
Punch up a few dudes and then run.
Yeah. That's pretty much his MO. Run to somewhere where there's a chair he can sit in for 15 hours a day.
Good God.
That's Desmond for you. Yeah.
Desmond fat ass.
So yeah, looking forward to that when that comes out.
Maybe.
I think
I think I'm looking forward to the same sort of tepid reaction that I have to all the Assassin's Creed games. But, alright, it's another one.
Well, this will be less of an, this will be more of a leap forward, as it were.
True.
Than
the last 3.
Well, 2 was a leap forward, but then the last 2, yeah. Brotherhood, the content's good, but it isn't a leap forward in terms of gameplay or anything. Well, I suppose the combat's better, but yeah, I don't know. Technology-wise, it's fairly static. And Ezio again. Lots of Ezio. He's even in Soul Calibur now.
Mamma mia.
Yeah.
El Stabio.
Any other news?
News!
It's PAX at the moment, so
PAX.
I guess there'll be more news next time.
News.
I'm
sure I had something.
There was a preview of more Borderlands 2 stuff, but that just looks like Borderlands 2, so...
Oh yeah.
And no dubstep, even though they advertised that there was going to be dubstep.
Yeah.
False advertising.
Damn you. That's as I was saying to Zach in the car on the way over here. It's found a reason on which we should buy Syndicate. It's got Skrillex and Flux Pavilion in the soundtrack.
Yeah, but apparently there's only 2
One song.
tracks. Yeah.
But even so.
Yeah, well, it was all over the trailer. Was that the track? Oh no, that was probably just a normal Skrillex track, was it? That was over the trailer for Syndicate. I don't think it was the one.
I don't think I've seen the trailers.
Oh yeah, they're quite stylish and stuff. Oh, but my brother made me look at. Well, he hadn't seen it, but he was over earlier, and we looked at the trailer for the film. They're making Total Recall. It's not a remake, I don't think, because they seem to have changed the story. But the trailer was pretty awesome. It had a pretty crazy sort of bullet timey, very CG, but combat sequence or whatever that was pretty cool. Where one guy takes out a whole room of guys in all sort of slow mo and stuff. That was pretty awesome. In a way that seemed fairly novel. You've seen that kind of thing a lot, right? Slow motion fight. But somehow they did it in a way with the camera sweeping around. It's that's actually new, something new somehow and cool. Yeah, I have to watch it. So check that out.
I heard in actual news.
None of this other stuff was news.
Yeah, no, that was all bullshit.
We're just making this shit up.
Don't care about that.
PAX isn't this weekend.
Yeah, it's a lie.
No, fuck that. It's in actual news, I'm pretty sure they've said that Dust is now going to be free to play.
They had said that sort of
I saw that
before, but now they've said it again more legitimately.
It, yeah.
I've seen some previews that seem to think it's pretty good, alright.
Well, that's the thing.
I only saw a very tiny bit of footage, which means I should probably go and look at more at some point. But it's just it just looks like a futuristic first-person shooter at the moment.
It does look relatively generic, I have to say, and it looks a bit unpolished at the moment. Not quite as unpolished as the PlanetSide demos were at GDC, but it's there's a certain sort of lack of feel to it, if you know what I mean, sort of lack of finesse to the look of it at the moment. But it's something they could definitely work on. But even so, it's
Well, the stuff I was seeing was saying that they were kind of surprised at how good it seemed, considering they've never done a shooter before. This developer, they were like, "Actually, this actually looks good." So we'll see about that. Not that you'll be able to play it.
No,
you have a PS3.
I'll have to conscript Rob to do way
I don't understand.
There's still a lot of conversation about whether it's actually going to stay PS3.
Yeah, what's the advantage for them? I mean,
it's not an advantage. It's just. It's not an advantage, maybe. It's just that they can't do it on the other architecture. They don't want to do it on PC because they think that somehow that conflict, they're like, we've already got all our PC users with Eve, so obviously making a first-person shooter is not going to get us any more sales.
That's idiotic. And not
so that's a bit dumb.
Yeah.
But they can't do it on the Xbox because Microsoft won't let them do some
online thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough, because they're locked down a bit more.
So that just leaves them with Sony.
Well, Microsoft
can't do it on the Wii.
In fairness, Microsoft might just have a problem with the free-to-play model.
Well, probably that as well.
Yeah, the whole gold stuff. But to be honest, it's worked out. Xbox Live's relatively closed wall garden thing has actually worked out really great for them, whereas PlayStation's open, oh shit, we got hacked and stuff, architecture, that never really worked. That was unrelated, I know, but still, yeah, I mean, how many...
Microsoft
I don't know.
Just gets a load of FIFA shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, Dust is a lot more interesting, obviously, than anything really going on
PlayStation
live.
3, yeah.
On PlayStation 3. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
There isn't much in PlayStation's calendar
right now
that I care about.
They were catching up for a second. Like, a couple of years ago, they were like, "Way, we're actually delivering on our promise
of the
sell and everything."
The only thing I can think of is The Last of Us, and that's still ages away. You know, now Uncharted's done.
Yeah. Little Big Planet, that's all done, sort of.
Well, yeah, unless they come up with some mysterious jump for the third.
Even more crazier. Yeah.
Now with more programming.
An entire game studio built into your PS3, which you use using a controller.
Comes with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
I saw possibly the most pointless thing that I'd ever seen as a mod of Minecraft. There's a mod that lets you program inside Minecraft, like literal text interface, and then you can then in the Minecraft world you can make a machine that copies floppy disks with your program on it. It's like what? And then it just when you run the program, it just runs it in a pop-up. I made a little text-based game in my pop-up inside Minecraft, and then printed floppies on it.
You can distribute it
as an in-game item.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That is really weird.
That is kind of cool in a completely and utterly pointless way.
Because Minecraft programming is a classic, but not. Yeah. That's more like mechanical process.
Right. Proper engineering.
You need to be able to feed your program into a Redstone CPU or whatever coprocessor or whatever.
I'm sure you probably could.
That'd be insane.
Because some of the Redstone stuff got quite advanced.
Yeah, it did. Ridiculous.
Someone made a platforming movement where it's like you have your guy made out of two redstone lights and then the redstone light landscape that you can jump across in really slow motion because it's like turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. Incredibly slow frame rate. Although nowadays I think you could probably make, because the way they used to do it is they used the redstone torches used to be the equivalent of the pixels.
Yeah.
But because those are like torches in Minecraft, they were like a full block. But now there's a thing, they introduced a new item in I think it was the last patch, that's it's basically a light, it's a full block that's just like a light, but it's activated by redstone. So now you can have now when you make
proper pixel size things.
Yeah, it will fill the whole block. Okay. That would probably help. I assume.
That's kind of cool. Anything else in the new patch?
There's been some more patches even since that last new patch what I talked about before, when on the Kippers cast. but again, I haven't really been paying attention because I have been updating because I want to preserve my mods.
Preserve them in case they get invalidated.
Well, because I assume as soon as Minecraft updates, a lot of the mods just desync and it fucks them up, and you have to wait for the mod people to re-release or whatever.
You just have to look on their websites.
Yeah, so I've just been I can't. None of this matters at the moment.
Can you just, because it's just inexecutable, right?
Yeah, just sort of.
Install another instance of Minecraft on your hard disk?
Kind of. I think I discussed this before, because it's in the Minecraft folder it's just executable, but it actually stores all the jar files and stuff in your user folder in Windows.
Oh, so it runs
which is a giant pain in the ass.
Oh, that's annoying.
You have to go and copy that shit. Although you can just copy and drop it in, it doesn't, there's no registry or whatever.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Goddamn registry. That's why you need a GAC. Woo, .NET. Anyway, everyone programming .NET like Terraria style.
Everybody programming Minecraft in .NET.
Oh man, that must be the worst interpreter, going through Minecraft and then through the Java virtual machine, and then eventually it's as unoptimized as you could possibly get for code. It's as far from native as you could get.
Ridiculous.
That would be pretty bad.
Hilarious. Lol. So yes.
I'm sure I had more news.
Yeah,
I cannot think
I feel like there was more news and I can't remember it.
Fez.
Oh, that's actually going to come out at last. Jesus Christ.
And more surprisingly, at a relatively good, the normal price point for an Explar game. It's not going to come out at 1,200 points. No, they're coming in at the far more regular 800. Success!
What is this again? Remind me.
Fez, it's the mysterious 2D, 3D platformer crossover thing.
Right.
You play it from a 2D perspective, but the world actually has 3 dimensions, but you only ever play with it in 2 dimensions.
All right.
So
what do you flip around?
You rotate, yeah.
90
you
degrees.
rotate the world 90 degrees, and then you have access to different platforms and things that you can stand on.
Are they kind of cube-shaped puzzle levels, or?
Yeah, kind of. Like the blocks are all cubic.
Could you make levels for Fez in Minecraft?
I was thinking about. I seriously thought about trying that because I was like, "What you can?" I was thinking about how you do it in Minecraft, and I was like, "Well, the trouble is in Fez, it looks like you just basically the like islands are long and tall normally, so they rotate around the axis, and then you just go into a door and you appear on another island." I was like, "How can you do that in Minecraft?" Well, I was like, if you built one island in Minecraft, you'd have to just have the other islands nearby, and then you'd have to have like an extending bridge that goes out to the next island when you solve the puzzle. So I started like working out how to do that with pistons, so you can make it so that when you trigger a redstone thing, it builds a little bridge out to the next island and stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I was like, sweet, I could probably actually do this, and then I got bored. And then I realised that if I was actually going to do it, I'd probably have to use like a map editor rather than build it literally in Minecraft, because that'd be really inconvenient to take forever.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't be bothered to get a map editor.
If you think about it, games like Fez and Crash and a few others that presumably Echo Chrome falls into this category as well, they must take fucking forever to actually design the levels for. Because that's quite a mind screw, isn't it?
Well, it's because it's like that. The level is the puzzle, so it's like
that is the design. Right? Yeah.
That's where most of the effort goes. It's not just like throwing down some blocks to make a place where you walk.
Yeah. But the other sort of, I suppose, the downside still with Fez is it's still Explorer only.
Yeah, that sucks. I want to play it.
Yeah. It's got PC indie written all over it, but it's probably going to be a delayed release if they're going to do that.
If they home do it, yeah.
Well, like Super Meat Boy. Did that come out on everything at the same time?
No. Xbox had quite an epic lead.
Right. Well, there you go.
And then the Steam version came out a good few months later.
Oh, there's a Steam version of something awesome that just came out.
There's a Steam version of something or other.
It's not what I'm thinking, because Stacking just came out on Steam, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it was something else, which I can't remember.
At £12.
Oh, I know.
A bit steep.
Rayman Origins is on Steam.
Yes, for £20. Like, the classic PC, for some reason, PC games sell at half price sometimes.
That's cool, right?
Yeah.
That's clearly awesome.
We're not going to buy it, but whatever.
Well, if it's in a sale,
if it's in a sale and it becomes like £2, then yeah,
I might buy it. I don't know. It seemed really good.
That seems like, I don't know. I was going to say it seems like you want it to be multiplayer, but actually you probably don't.
It is multiplayer.
I mean, it is multiplayer, but I don't think it's actually better in multiplayer.
Well, no, the game is supposed to be a lot easier because you die.
Yeah, because
in single player, whereas in multiplayer you can res each other.
Yeah, but the screen zooming and stuff is worse in multiplayer and that sort of thing.
I guess.
Yes.
And it's more of a giant clusterfuck when you're all close together in multiplayer. And
they have taken the rather strange strategy. I think Yahtzee was the one that first said this, where they've taken the mysterious strategy like Super Mario Bros. Wii did, where it's like, let's take two fairly well-known, fairly normal characters in the Rayman universe, and then add two other guys.
Well,
they're sort of like the Toads, aren't they, in Super Mario Bros. And it's like the other guys are just like two generic short asses.
Well, they are like from the Rayman universe,
yeah,
but like no one, for a start, no one practically knows the Rayman universe anyway.
Well, no, it's true.
How do you barely even know Glovox?
Well, no, it's true, but they're like the same. Is my problem with it. It's like you've come up with two characters that look pretty much the same as each other.
I guess, but there weren't that many characters in Rayman, so I guess they didn't have much choice.
Ray Girl.
You can't do that. That infers too much of a story.
True.
Ms. Rayman.
The key thing is doing a crazy dance at the end of the level. Yes.
That's not at the end of the level.
No, that just happens.
It's just happening. Just go constantly anyway. Yeah.
No, the end of the level is the taking a photo in the stupid pose thing.
Style thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's like a Rayman classic. That was like Rayman 2 or something.
They've released the Rayman HD collection, haven't they?
Yeah,
like a couple
gradually.
A couple of the original games redone with Not quite as nice as Rayman Origins style graphical awesomeness, but at least a touch up.
It's only an HD.
I still have to play Bastion. God damn. Anyway,
I know. So do I. I actually have it and still haven't played it.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, so is that it for news today?
Probably.
I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on.
Pretty lame. I should have made notes.
Yep.
What you've been playing?
I'm sure I had something interesting.
Okay.
But it's gone.
There was the Eve FanFest. They did
Battlefield
that.
3 patch as well.
Oh yeah, I guess it was that. That may or may not be interesting. We haven't actually played it yet, so we don't know. The only interesting thing coming out of the Eve FanFest was, well, apart from dust, obviously, was that, like, holy shit, they're finally modelling the missile launchers.
Alright.
So now missiles just won't come out of the middle of your ship.
Oh, really? Cool.
That's a result.
Yeah. They actually have turrets that attach to your ship.
It's only taken them like a decade.
Yep. And also it appears that at the same time, while they're remodeling the turrets, they're redoing all the missile effects. Which, to be honest, doesn't actually matter, because unlike the gun effects, where it was like, oh, we've made it so that when you miss, your bullets actually miss.
Yeah.
Well, with missiles, you can't miss, so they can do whatever the fuck they want with that animation.
What do you think's the most dated bit of Eve, considering how old it is?
What do you mean by dated?
What's the original?
Dated,
what's the most original asset that's there?
Yeah, what seems like it's from a game that was developed that came out.
Like, I think one thing that seems like it's never fucking been used for about 1 million years is defender missiles. Because they originally, like, missiles used to be a lot slower. Like, a lot slower. And, like, missiles used to have, like, in their information that used to have how many hit points they had and that kind of thing.
Oh,
so you could actually have defender missiles to intercept them. And they do still sort of work against torpedoes, because torpedoes are, like, super slow. But you're never going to hit any other kind of missile with defender missiles. And back in the old days, you used to be able to set... When you had defender missiles loaded in a missile launcher, you used to be able to set it on auto defense. So as soon as a missile targeted you, it would fire defenders at it. But I don't think that you can still do that. But I haven't used defender missiles for, like, forever, because they're almost pointless, because missiles are so fast now. And even then, I mean, like, sometimes you see enemies that have defender missiles, because I guess that's sort of trying to balance the NPCs against the fact that missiles always hit. But most of it's like, when my main ship only has, like, one missile launcher, so I'm firing, like, one singular torpedo. And even then, when the defenders hit it, most of the time it doesn't actually destroy it, so the missile still connects. It's like, defender missiles, what the fuck? Why do these even still exist? That is ancient.
It sounds like a neat idea, but yeah, it's become outdated by the...
Well, really, the whole missile system is just ridiculous. The fact that they could never miss, I find really dumb. But then it's like, what could you do?
You'd have to have, like, a manually released pulse, I guess, to try...
Countermeasures.
Yeah, like flares. Space flares.
Yeah.
Space flares.
Flares.
But then that's basically what the defender missiles were trying to be, sort of.
It just reminded me of, like, do you remember, like, in... I suppose you guys never played it, but I think Wing Commander Prophecy used to have these awesome Interceptor class ships whose only point was to try and be the first point of contact for, like, incoming waves of enemies. But they were really sweet. I think they were called, like, Wasps or something, and they had these swarm pods.
Right.
So instead of firing missiles normally, you'd get they'd be quicker than any other ship, so they'd get to the fight really quickly.
Yeah.
And then like lock up really fast, and then fire a swarm. So it's just like they literally just went whoosh, and this like just butterfly effect, looking effect of missiles, and just come out of the ship and like take out a few things.
Awesome.
It's like they were fun.
Sounds cool.
And then you had to play out the rest of the fight in them, which was tricky because they were shit armored.
Yeah.
But
and the other thing that's
I miss space combat.
Well, that's the same as an actual interceptor, as for the mission interceptor in terms of, because they're all-round fighter planes.
Yeah,
and then in the Cold War, well, also in before that even, but interceptors were very fast, and then they just were for downing incoming enemy bombers. So they just got there and they fired their one thing or whatever, and then they were a bit,
bug out.
Yeah, they'd be useless in actual dogfight because they're not maneuverable, they're just insanely fast. And all the Russian fighters were mostly interceptors. That's why they didn't do very well in combat with American all-round air superiority fighters. Because they was just designed, because Russia's massive, so if bombers are coming in, you have to be able to get from your base to, like, intercept them. You just need to get there and shoot it with a missile, and that's it.
Have, like, space combat sims ever properly sort of, like, simulated the whole... Like, you know how in Battlestar is, like, a fantastic example of this, because they do kind of portray the kind of the unit balance thing a little bit, don't they? Not so much, but they sort of like, oh, quick, pull these guys back in. We need to release these things instead.
Right.
There's a little bit of that, isn't there, in Battlestar? Not crazy.
Well, they just know.
They only really have the Raptors or whatever.
Yeah, there's only Vipers and Raptors.
Vipers and Raptors.
Whereas there's a lot more variety in the Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely. Stuff. So, you know, I don't think any sort of space combat sim has really captured like the class so much of the sort of like, for instance, if you were to fly out as an interceptor, do your job or something, like have that awesome moment where like a sea of missiles just goes forward and blats a few of the enemy, and then you have to run like shit back so you can get back to the carrier and swap into another ship and have it like nicely portrayed as like the battle carries on, and perhaps make that a multiplayer co-op experience.
Yeah.
How amazing would that be?
Class-based, right? It's like TF2 or something.
Yeah. I mean, how quality would that be if someone just got it right? We have the technology now to do that right.
Well, I suppose X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter was
Eve
close.
does it technically, doesn't it? But without the cool stuff.
Well, Eve does it with, like, pansy drones. You have to change your drone waves. It's like light drones to hit frigates, and then heavy drones when you're hitting battleships, and then maybe some other random drones.
I was about to say, I meant more in the fact that you don't really change ships, do you, in the middle of a fight, or you don't have the...
Well, you can theoretically in PvP if you have like a mothership with a ship hangar and a clone bay, and then you can fly in there and dock and change into a different ship.
But you don't fly it yourself, so you know.
You do.
No, but you don't fly it. You're not hands-on flying and the fun of a dogfight and all that stuff, and then someone's coming in and stealing, just sort of intercepting a fight in the middle of it. Space combat, yay.
Oh, this is something that is not really news. Almost news. Do you remember Ben from University of Southampton, who was computer science, and he went to work for Free Radical?
Yes.
And he told me, I know we were in some club in London years ago, and he told me he was working on a game, but he wasn't allowed to say what it was. And he eventually let slip that it was a Star Wars game, and I was like, well, I narrowed it down, basically, and I thought, well, it's got to be one of those Battlefront. No, what's it called?
Oh, Battlefront 3.
Yeah, Battlefront 3. Anyway, and he said it's Battlefront 3. I was like, what? Free Radical didn't make Battlefront. I was really confused, but obviously they had it, and it was a secret at the time. Anyway, so I didn't mention his last name, so you won't know who he is. But anyway, yeah, it got canned, and then the studio got gutted, and then got converted to Crytek UK or whatever. Who he still works for, so all good for that. But anyway, footage has come out of this game,
yeah, I saw that.
As it was. And you can, I mean, it didn't look amazing, but you can fly from the planet's atmosphere directly into orbit and shoot at Star Destroyers in the same map, which is kind of cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been kind of a dumb dream to be able to be in space combat and just fly down and land on a planet, right? They've never got
Well, I think
there.
going up is easy, but going down is impossible.
You could do both. Because
it's like, when you're going up, you're coming like from a landing site and going into space. And then when you're in space, there's like, there's so ships and you're moving really fast. But when you're coming down, you're trying to land in this incredibly tiny area from orbit.
I know.
It's like really difficult to navigate.
It was pretty weird because you sort of came down in the footage and like, you could see lots of land below, but obviously all the icons for where everyone was fighting was in this quite small area that you had to go down to.
That's probably going to be how it will be in like Eve and Dust, where it's like, there's the FPS panel going on right there.
That tiny little circle of people. Yeah, but it's a shame because that could have been. I'm sure, given Free Radical were developing it, it would have been better than the previous games in the series. And it's not a bad idea. Battlefield in Star Wars.
Yeah,
it could work.
I never really liked the first two.
No, but
there was always a weird balanced thing that was just never quite right.
But I'm sure the people that made Time Splitters could have sorted that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Time Splitters 4 down.
Yeah, that's not going to happen now.
Come on. Whenever anyone talks about like Shoot Mania and like making levels out of blocks. It's like, well, that's just like time splitters. Why is no one saying it's like time splitters? Because that's basically what it is.
Yeah, time splitters was great. It's
it had that whole massive level editor.
Yeah, both 2 and 3 had great level editors that were brilliant fun. Some of the levels we made on that shit was quality. Even if, especially the ones where we just ripped off the levels from Rage Wars, they were awesome.
Or Temple from GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
Always make Temple.
That's damn right. And then attempt to make proximity mine battles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was all about.
They were pretty funny. Oh man,
everything's just exploding around you. Because the explosions lasted for like 10 seconds or something. Whoa. It wasn't like bang, it was like flame. Yeah, ridiculous.
Toast with rules.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Game!
Yeah, we'd finished news.
Yeah.
Have we gone on to what you've been playing?
No.
Okay.
But I've sort of already talked about at least one of the things.
Do you want to carry on then?
Maybe. Talk about Eve and Minecraft some more.
Okay.
To some extent.
Keep on the theme.
Yeah, I went back to Eve, like, to actually play it for a small amount of time. Because it was like, holy shit, I've done this for a while. And I hadn't actually played since they'd done the update to make it so that your guns actually miss and hit when you miss and hit. And also all the gun noises had been updated, and I was like, what the fuck? It was like, I hadn't heard any of this, so it was kind of surprising. And I'm sure one of the types of guns on one of these enemy ships that was fighting me didn't really sound like a gun, it sounded more like a siren. So it was like, when these enemy, no wait, it was my drones. So I didn't hear them normally when they were far away shooting things, but one time when an enemy was near me and the drones were circling close, I could hear the drone guns. And they just sound like weird sirens, it's like, I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? Apparently that's what drone guns sound like. So yeah, been flying around and shooting things, NPCs as always, because I only do shitty NPC missions. And the gun effects are okay, I guess. I still had the classic Eve bug where my position had got desynced with where I actually was. So it's like, I'm flying right next to this enemy ship and it's like, you're missing because you're too far away. It's like, no, I'm not. Hurry up and catch up. Realise where I actually am.
Is that actually a bug or just lag compensation?
No, it's a bug where, like, large static objects are in like, scenery. If you bump up against them, sometimes your position kind of gets stuck.
Smeared out.
Yeah. It's a really weird thing, which is really annoying and like, really difficult to fix. Luckily, I killed the thing I was shooting at eventually. It's just like half my shots were missing, so I was like, took a little extra long time. But yeah, Eve is still Eve, and it looks pretty cool nowadays with all their updated graphics and effects. And they're redoing some of the ships as well. Well, I mean, they keep saying they're going to redo like a lot of the ships.
Did they fix the whole dock being retarded, and how they changed everything where you just move, or you have that avatar or whatever instead of can you see your ship and all that?
Yeah, they put that back in.
They put it back in. Okay, that's what I meant.
A while ago.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I haven't turned on the avatar thing for ages. Right, okay. It's just like, I don't even remember that's there most of the time. Cool. I could be a guy walking around, but fuck that.
Yeah, stop that.
And they also, in one of the fairly recent patches, they made it so that there's no time delay on changing ships any longer. Because it used to be really annoying. It's like, you dock, and then it'd be like, wait 30 seconds before you can do anything. Before you can change ships. And then when you change ship, it's like, wait 30 seconds before you can change ship again. But now they got rid of that, because that was that's like some old thing where it's like, we used to do this way because, you had to take into account this delay for this other thing, but then because they've optimized other things, it's like, we no longer need that delay. Now you can change ships as much as you want, as fast as you want.
Oh, cool.
Success! So awesome. That makes things slightly nicer in dock. And then that was it. That was Eve. I haven't really played it that much. I made a small amount of cash to add to my huge pile of cash.
Your massive pile of cash. You must have been in there longer than most people playing the game now.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Not like I've played it that much, maybe, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I've got quite a lot of skill points.
When they're talking about going back to Dust or something, hasn't there been a bit of a thing about Eve players basically being bastards resurfacing? Because Eve is basically... Because, Eve is basically like justified griefing.
It's a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
But they essentially said, like, some guy was being interviewed or something. He said, "Yeah, we're going to find a way to grief the Dust players as well."
Well, of course, that's the whole point. The Dust people are probably going to try and grief the Beam people. That's the whole point.
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure it works that way round. FPS Land isn't quite so.
I don't know. You could deliberately sabotage. You could if you're a mercenary FPS squad for hire, you could deliberately sabotage it by just failing. Well, I'm going to fail to defend your installation, so they all get blown up. Haha.
I guess, but I suppose that depends on how the win-loss system works. But would you actually get benefits from losing?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't. The corporation who secretly hired you to sabotage the other corporation in Eve.
I suppose then you could get super amounts of money with which to buy more tanks.
Yeah. But if they didn't make the FPS fights, balanced so that there was a chance of the other team winning.
Well, I'm sure someone suggested that they're not going to. They're not going to make it balanced at all. So you really could have.
Really could be fucked.
Yeah, you could just be fucked from the start.
Interesting.
Supposedly, I think the way they're planning to do it for Dust is they're basically going to do it in the same way as Eve and have high-sec battles in Dust are going to be sort of not the. They're going to be the ones that don't really matter to the Eve, and they're going to be more balanced.
Right.
And then once you go out into low-sec or null-sec, they're going to be the ones that are actual corporations hiring people, so you could be completely fucked and outnumbered.
Right. So you and your team could be hired to go up against a virtually impossible to defeat other team position.
And if you fail, it's you still got paid, I guess. So.
Yeah, that's true. Interesting. Yeah.
And that was Eve, pretty much. Not much going on. I've been manufacturing stuff and looking at the markets probably about to go crazy because they're patching shit. Where they're making NPCs and drones drop significantly less minerals, basically. So the mineral prices on the market have all started suddenly going up quite a lot. I was oh good, here we go again. Everything's going to get more expensive. It really started. There was the worst thing that happens to me has happened to me at least 2 times is when I see looking at some awesome ship that is not necessarily even that new, but I'm there's a mining barge, and I was I kind of want one of those just so I could have the ultimate mining. But it's it's 200 million, and it's well, the price looks like it's going down. It's going to get to 180, and then maybe that'll be worth it. Then I think I'll hold off, and then it's it never gets down, and then it just starts going up. And I'm well, I guess I'm never getting one of them then. It's because I don't pay enough attention to know what what the price variation actually is based on. It's I just think, oh, they're ripping me off, but it's actually probably their production costs have gone up, and it's filtered down the chain to just make everything more expensive. It's the same with the stupid Marauder ships, where it's 1 billion, fuck that shit. I was going to buy it when it was nearly 600 million, but I was waiting for 500 million, but it never got that low. So now I'm never going to buy one. God damn it.
So does the economy in Eve kind of have a natural interest then?
Sort of.
Accidentally.
What, inflation?
Yeah.
I don't know about exactly inflation. Because really the base mineral price... Well, because it used to be that there was a maximum that the mineral prices could go to, but they unlinked that. It was to do with, shuttles used to be available in every station, because you needed to be able to get a cheap ship that you could fly around in, rather than just flying in your pod, because that wasn't very fast. But then they made it so that shuttles were no longer made by NPCs, so they had to be manufactured in a normal way, and because shuttles are made of so much minerals, that removed the ceiling of the mineral price, because the minerals would never get more expensive than how much the shuttle was if you reprocessed it.
Right.
But then they got rid of that, and then mineral prices became fully, based on the economy. But that didn't seem to change that much, so I guess that was a success. It didn't suddenly skyrocket or anything.
Mm. They transferred off the guild standard.
Yeah. So.
Or the shuttle standard.
Yeah, basically. And that was that. That was Eve. And then Minecraft.
Minecraft.
I've been not doing very much in, really. Instead of Worm, it's now Minecraft that I play while I'm doing podcasts, where I don't have to do very much. I just sort of wander around in a cave.
My brother watches TV while he's playing Minecraft.
I don't understand how you can do that, because then you're using your eyes for two things at the same time.
Well, I think he just...
I'm hoping it's TV he doesn't care about.
I think with peripheral vision, he knows what characters are on screen, and then he just listens to the conversation, which I can understand in like a sitcom, especially if it's Friends or something, where you know the characters are always the same. Yeah. The visual part of TV... in that case, doesn't really matter. Like, all the jokes you can get from just listening, like a radio drama, like, additional, occasional
because they do try to do occasional visual things,
But he was watching The Wire with playing Minecraft. I was like, that's impossible. I can't even understand what's going on in The Wire, the first series.
Has he already watched it before?
No. I was like, what the hell? Surely you had no idea what the fuck was happening, because The Wire is really confusing.
Unless he's playing Minecraft in the peripheral.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt it, though. I don't know. That would be really hard to do. Play an interactive game in your peripheral vision.
Technically, there's no, death penalty in Minecraft, really, so it's
true.
Whatever, just run around and...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think watching TV and playing games together is really a good idea.
Podcasts just about work.
Podcasts would just about work.
I still have to pause them occasionally when it's when I'm trying to think of, doing a calculation or something, or making some planning or something in Minecraft, I'm like, okay, I have to stop trying to listen to these people for a minute and actually think about this.
That's why I don't listen to music very much at work.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you actually go, oh shit, I need to actually think about this. Music off.
Or the other way around, where you just start doing things and then you realise, this music has been playing in my ears. I haven't heard a single part of it for half an hour.
It totally happens to me. I get started and then the whole thing is gone and
you've zoned out.
I wasn't listening to any of it. Yeah, which is cool. It's nice to have background, but it's got to be non-distracting.
That's sort of a good thing where you realise, wow, I was actually focused on work for a change.
Yeah.
But then it also kind of sucks when that happens and you realise that you're like, it's the end of an awesome song and you're like, well, I'm going to have to restart that song now. Because I just realised that I haven't been listening to this awesome song, but I actually wanted to.
That's okay. You can play it again, but then you just lost your concentration.
Yeah.
No, but that's okay.
So yeah, Minecraft has become, on my stupid Buildcraft, fucking around with automated mining and stuff, you're not doing very much most of the time. It's not like the regular Minecraft where you're digging everything, but then digging everything in Minecraft is boring in its own right, so I'm just wandering around and thinking of ingenious plans to harvest shit faster. Because I'm still trying to use the stupid equivalent exchange shit to, transmute things into higher value stuff.
Yeah.
So I've just been thinking, how can I possibly squeeze more resources out of my local area? Where it's I built a spawn tower where things spawn and they get sucked into a hole and then fall to their deaths and then it sucks it into a pipe and stuff. So that doesn't work very well because the spawn methods in Minecraft have sort of changed over time. That used to work a lot better, but now enemies don't move if they're a certain distance away from you. Uh-huh. So they spawn and then they just stand there, which makes it so they don't fall off things, which is how it used to work. It works okay, it's just not as fast as I would like. And then there's underground, the monster spawners in underground dungeons. Those only work if you're really close to them as well, so you can't really harvest that very much. So I've been trying to work out ingenious ways to harvest things faster. There's only so much you can do. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I think my plan in Minecraft now is I think this might actually be the time when I make an effort to get to the end and just do that. Because I still haven't seen that. And
You haven't seen the dragon in the end?
No.
Okay. That probably won't take very long, will it?
Well, no, probably not. I was going to say, because you need the Eye of Ender things to activate the portal.
Yeah. Which
normally would require collecting a whole shit ton of Ender Pearls. And I've got, none of them in this game. It's even when I went out specifically, I'm because normally I just sleep to make it go back to daylight, but then none of the enemies spawn.
Yeah.
So I went out on a couple of times, specifically just went out at night to try and kill Enderman, and I still only got 2 of the fucking pearls, and I was you need 8 or something to activate a portal, plus which you need extras because you have to throw them to lead you to where the dungeon is that has the portal in it. And those destroy, some of the time.
So you lose them when
you lose those as well. I was how that would be so boring to do this the normal way. But of course now, once I found one, I've learnt it in my transmutation thing, so I just make it to
make a whole bunch of them.
Awesome. Equivalent exchange.
Yep. Just throw them out, get them extra. Although it's like, even though I'm using the equivalent exchange, I'm still trying to do it semi-legitimately, where it's like, I'm not just dumping everything in there and making diamonds. I'm like building up to diamonds. It's like I've got an entire box of dirt, and then an entire box of stone, and then an entire box of wool, and then an entire box of logs, and an entire box of obsidian. It's like I'm gradually working up the energy levels until I make an entire box of diamonds.
Make diamonds
at some point, eventually.
Okay.
So isn't your entire system automatic now, though?
Well, from the mining, it is like the automated mines that just dig shit up and turn it into eventually diamonds. That's all automated. But when I go out by myself and like dig some extra stuff up, then I put that through my tree farm just makes logs, which I just use to convert those manually as well. And I have sheep that I can shear for wool, and then all the enemy drops coming out of my stupid spawn tower, convert them manually. So yeah, that's Minecraft.
I'll tell you what I'm doing while listening to podcasts there, instead of... Because I was commuting on the train. It was like, oh, well, I can listen to podcasts with nothing else to do. This will pass the time. But now I'm just walking into...
Yeah.
So, and you could... I've been listening to albums while I'm kind of walking, but it's not ideal.
No.
It's not long. And it's like, oh, well, when am I going to listen to the podcasts and stuff? And I found the one thing that I need to do that I hadn't needed to do before... Ironing. It takes goddamn forever. It takes me like 25 minutes to iron one shirt. And now that may sound dumb, but you have to do the inside of the collar of the collar and the outside of the collar. Then the inside of one cuff and then the outside of the cuff, and then the back of the arm and then the front of the arm, and then the back of the other arm, front of the other arm, the inside of the collar of the cuff, outside the cuff of that arm. And then you do the front panel and then the back and then the other bit of the back and then the other panel and then you're done. That's one shirt. That takes me 25 minutes.
Right. Like, you have two options here. One, don't iron.
Don't iron.
Get a woman.
Right, okay.
Don't wear shirts.
Yeah, just go in bareback.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my...
Get another job.
Well, no, I don't...
You get a job where you don't need to wear
Well, that's the thing, I don't actually need to wear shirts for my job.
Oh, there you go, it's self-imposed.
Yeah, it's self-imposed.
Jumpers and polo shirts.
Yeah. Yeah, polo shirts. Probably don't need so much ironing. Or you just iron those flat at one side and the other and then you're done.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, easy.
So what else was I playing? Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
It's that sand and horse again.
Yeah. All that grit.
Oh my god. That's gravelly.
Rumblings. I played quite a lot more of Space Pirates and Zombies and Bounty Hunters.
Oh yeah.
To actually get through some more of that.
Spasm.
Yeah, Spasm. Spasm.
Spasm.
But, yeah, that's still that game. Actually, for some...
That's still that game, by the way.
I don't know, but it seems like it's just got a lot harder. I think when they did all the balance tweaking over the time between when I stopped playing it and they fixed that mine exploit.
Yeah.
I think between then and now, they've actually done some more balance tweaking. It's made it fucking difficult, because, like, my tactic used to be you combine the leech emitters that drain enemy ships' power, and you use the iron emitters that remove shields and then shut down the ship. And then you basically have that on your ship, so you shut down the target and then you use your wingmen to just damage them, basically. That was my plan before, but now that doesn't seem to work nearly as well. It's like the combination of leech emitters and iron emitters seems to take, firstly, it seems to take a lot longer to shut things down, and secondly, the iron emitters no longer shut down engines, so they can still, like, evade.
Oh, right.
Which kind of sucks.
It does suck. You'd think they would shut down engines.
Well, I think the idea of that...
From a standpoint.
Well, I think the idea of that was to make gravity missiles more pointful, because gravity missiles stop you from running away, because they slow you down.
Okay.
But then, like, not every ship has missile slots or whatever. And also, I think the other thing that they maybe rebalanced was like how the size of the weapon has more effect on how powerful it is. So, like, large weapons, like small weapons, don't work nearly as well on large ships any longer. So, like, you can't just have small iron emitters to disable things and then have your larger ones for more important guns. The bounty hunter ships are pretty cool, though.
Alright.
The new ships that they put in. They're actually maybe a bit too cool in some cases, because it's like, these ships are way better than all the other ones in this size class.
Okay.
So there's no point in using any of these other ones, ever.
Do they look cool, or they have more slots, or what?
They just have a lot more slots, like all the bounty hunters ships seem to have tons more utility slots, which is just the most important thing, really, because you can add all kinds of boosters and shit in there to make them actually useful.
Is there any disadvantage to being a bounty hunter, then?
Well, you aren't really a bounty hunter.
Oh, you're just a guy.
You just have their ships,
Oh,
just like all the other ships.
Oh, okay.
Steal the designs.
Like Freelancer or something.
The bounty hunters are actually really annoying as well. Because it's like, whenever you're anywhere near, like, they have a bounty hunter base and then if you're in any of the adjacent systems or that system, whenever you kill anything, you just get bounty. And then if you have enough bounty, then bounty hunters start coming and trying to kill you. Which is just super annoying, because there's no way to really avoid getting bounty until... Although I did discover eventually, when you get to the bit where the zombies are, killing zombies reduces your bounty.
Ah.
Because it's like service to humanity or whatever.
Oh, that makes sense, sort of.
But that's like so late game, you're spending all this other time where it sucks and you can't get rid of your bounty apart from doing the stupid challenge missions, which their reward decreases the more times you do them, so you can't really grind that out very well. Or you can just go to the bounty hunter station and just pay it off in one big lump. But then you're using all your money to just pay off your bounty. And then you have to go mine, and then it's like, more fucking mining.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's kind of annoying. I
You
don't
should
know.
introduce some kind of privateering mechanic where you can... Well, that would be like that. You know, where you can get hired to do work or whatever.
Well...
Or
yeah.
destroy others.
Well, I don't understand, because initially I thought that I was only going to get bounty from killing, like, police ships, the UTA ships.
Yeah.
But you get it from killing civilian ships as well, so it's like neither side.
Yeah.
Neither side is with the bounty hunters, they just all give you bounty, and then there's no way to get rid of it apart from the zombies. So much later on in the game. And it's just like, I don't know, all the rebalancing they've done, I just feel super underpowered. It's like, I'm up to level 70 on my, each level gives you some points towards your tech tree or whatever.
Sure.
So I'm up to 70, and then like the systems that I'm flying in are rated as like 50 or 60, and I still feel drastically underpowered most of the time. I'm just like, what the hell happened? And this is only playing on normal difficulty.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
So it's like, what the shit? Don't know what happened to this game. Grr.
So that's
Spasm.
Is that all you've been playing?
No, because there was one more thing that's actually sort of new, not really new, sort of new.
Sort of new.
Sort of new, semi-interesting.
One careful owner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is?
I decided to buy Blur on PC because it was cheap in the middle of the week.
Woo!
It was like £4 in the Steam sale.
And
And I was like, yeah, just some cheap driving.
I was watching a quick look of Ridge Racer Unbounded the other day. And at first I was like, this is a total rip-off of Burnout.
Yeah.
And then I was like, why would I buy this when I could buy Blur?
Or Burnout.
Well, yeah. But yeah, anyway.
It's not like Unbounded
It's got more
has like
distractions.
power-ups.
Yeah, I suppose.
The whole point is shortcuts and blasting through the city.
Yeah, but
I saw, like,
That's all-
Jeff was, like, blasting towards what looked like an obvious shortcut, and he just went ram into a wall.
yeah, but that's because he was bad at it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You
that's
have to,
true.
like,
That's true.
it pops up the thing to tell you to do it when
Yeah.
you're in range to do it.
To do
and
it.
if you've done it beforehand and your boost is about to run out, then you're fucked.
Yeah,
It's like you have to learn
yeah.
to... I think that's why he appeared to suck quite badly at
He
that.
did suck quite badly.
Because it's not really boost like boost, it's boost like a trigger to access a shortcut.
Yeah,
You can't just use it whenever. I mean, you can to
you
like kill
shouldn't.
vehicles and stuff.
yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, so I got Blur and drove around, and it's alright, I guess.
Alright, I guess.
It's fine, but I just felt, it's like I'd only played like the first, league or, rival tree or
Thing,
whatever.
yeah.
And it's like, well, I've basically seen all this game, haven't I? Because it's really just a bit of a one-trick thing. Once you've done a race with all the power-ups and stuff, there's not really much else to it. I mean, there's those other versions.
I guess
that,
not.
like,
There's a lot more tracks that the game has to offer that get eked out throughout the campaign.
yeah.
And there's those challenges as well that you have to do during the races that get more complex as you go through.
Well, the trouble is that I don't.
And there's the achievements that are on certain races, which are a bit, especially on the rival challenge ones, that are kind of tough.
I just don't like. Well, I mean, the checkpoint racing and the destruction racings are kind of like meh. It's just like
the destruction racings are really quite difficult. Towards the end of the game, they're some of the hardest stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, they do get relatively difficult relatively quickly, but it's not very interesting. I mean, when you're limited to just like one power-up, it's so uninteresting when you've just been doing this awesome race with all these other cars and all kinds of shit flying around.
It's difficult because there is a certain tactic to destruction, isn't there? Like, you have to make sure you're accurate.
Yeah, you actually have to think about your firing rather than just spamming.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I can see your concern.
And the checkpoint is just kind of... Yeah, it's really not designed for just speed.
Checkpoint's quite annoying. It eventually becomes memorization, not of actual good driving, but where the power-ups are that you need to be getting. And then there's a certain amount of trial and error to try and figure out whether you want to go for the time reduction or the boost routes on some of them.
Yeah, and whether you want to like reserve a boost to do a hairpin better or use it on a straightaway or whatever.
Yeah, there's not many occasions where you need to actually use the air brake, but
no.
Straightaway.
Yeah.
You're American. Yeah.
Well, some of them are in American cities, apart from the ones that are in like Brighton.
Yeah, Brighton and I think London get to mention. Yeah, Hackney, is it? Yeah.
The two epic centres of racing in England.
Brighton and Hackney. Not Brands Hatch or Dubston.
But they're street courses, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Or semi-off-road.
But you have to say, what it does goddamn well.
Well, I mean, it's fairly awesome.
It's just fun. I don't know. I had myself with a proper addiction to that while I was going through it. It's just like, I've got to spare like half an hour. Let's play some Blair. Do a couple of events.
I have been tempted, but I think I'm only playing it on like the middle difficulty rather than the hardest because I was like, I don't really feel like dealing with maximum difficulty. Just stick it on normal.
Oh, no, maximum difficulty is fucking difficult. I'm telling you, it's properly hard.
But it's just like, particularly right near the start, it's just like, it's way too easy to just get ahead and then you just then you just drive.
Well, it's the start of the game, I suppose.
Well, yeah, but
it does get harder as the game goes on.
Yeah, but I still haven't quite got to a point where I'm battling all the way through a race. It's just like, at some point I get ahead and then I'm just gone. It's like, they can't stop me. It's the same sort of, I mean, even with the idea of shocks targeting the leader, it's not like shocks are hard to avoid or anything, really. If you're any good at driving.
It depends on the track. Some are difficult, some are easy.
Yeah. But then that same kind of thing happened when I went online as well. It was like, more often than not, one person will get out in front of them, then you can never catch them.
Well, that's the classic thing with racing games.
Well, yeah.
My experience of Xbox Live is that the fights have been a lot closer than they would have been in other like online races.
Yeah, probably.
There is a lot more to and fro. You know, and often you find yourself, if you stay in a lobby for a while, like fighting with a couple of guys consistently.
Yeah.
There is a sort of like a nice... It does get the balance, I think, from random to skill quite well. There is a certain amount of random because of the power-up system, but it's often you find yourself, you always seem to end up finish races in a certain lobby in the same position as you have been the last few. So, like, suggesting that it's, actually my skill level means that I'm actually sort of kind of, like, placing where I should.
Yeah, so I went into the stupid Learner League, of course, level 1 to 10.
Yeah.
And the first race I did, I won. And I was like, wow, beginner's luck, fuck yeah. That was good. But then I haven't actually been doing that badly since then. I got a 5 winning streak at one point, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah, maybe you just rocket this.
I don't know, it seemed like
3 once.
It seemed like in a lot of cases in that, it was just like I was getting away. Once I could get on, and I think it was also maybe the track, because obviously it keeps it on the reasonably simple tracks in the earlier league, in like the Learner League. But also, of the tracks that they were coming up in the votes, I think they kept picking the ones where I could just like get my speed up, and then I seemed to be better at just going. Once I got going, I could just burn the shit out of it and rocket around these things. But yeah, so that was fairly interesting. Not too laggy. Not that many people playing it, of course.
I was about to say, what is the community like in terms of size? Because the Xbox One wasn't massive while I was playing.
Well, on Friday night, there was like 500 people.
That's more than Xbox. That's impressive. And that might have been because of the deal.
Yeah, obviously. That probably helped.
But even so, that's bigger than the Xbox community most of the time.
There's 100 people in learners, so 1/5 of the population is only just
model
the game.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Damn, that game was good.
It's pretty good.
It deserved much more attention than it did. How's it run? How's it looking like? Presumably your system runs it at super smooth 60.
I don't think it does. I'm not sure if I'm not very sensitive on frame rates, at least not as much as you are. I was thinking I should probably just run Fraps and get the frame rate counter on there and see what it actually is, but I'm not convinced it's running it smooth. It does seem to judder sometimes, but I'm not sure whether that's temporary or whether that's just me catching a glimpse of what speed it's actually running at and then realising it's not smooth.
Yeah, because I was in two minds about whether it would actually be better or not. And on the Xbox it runs at a perfect 30. Never jutters. It's always that.
But it's 30.
But it's 30, yeah. And so a bit of me wonders, but 30 to a degree kind of in some games kind of emphasises the action, if you know what I mean, because it isn't quite so easy to see.
Yeah.
You end up with a certain larger feeling of exhilaration for some reason. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it kind of sometimes helps. And Blur, I have a suspicion, might actually suffer from being too smooth in places. I have a suspicion that it would be... even so, at £4, I'm kind of a bit bummed I missed it, because it would have been cool to face off against you for some...
You'll just have to wait for the next sale.
Yeah.
But the other thing about it was the keyboard controls.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't play a keyboard.
Well, it's not that bad, actually. It's just that... I mean, the thing about it is that it doesn't seem to have custom configuration, and there's only 2 setups.
Oh, right.
But luckily one of them is okay. So I was just like, I guess I'll use that one then.
I'd still play with a controller, personally.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about it, but then I was like, let's see what the keyboard control's like, and then it's fine.
Well, because it's bizarre, it's got a little bit of the old PGR handling to it.
Yeah.
So there's very loosely. So sometimes it's easier to sort of control a slide with the analogs.
My only problems with it is mainly... Well, the first problem that I thought was going to be a lot more of a problem is that it uses, WASD for, with the accelerated and breakers up and down. And normally when I'm doing racing games on keyboard, I prefer to have my other hand and have a separate button for brake so that I don't have to move my finger downwards from accelerator to brake, because that's sort of inconvenient.
Makes sense, yeah.
But you can't configure it, so I can't do that. But that's not too much of a problem, because you don't have to brake that often, really.
No, you need to brake more off as you...
Well, yeah, the later stuff.
Yeah, the further you get through.
But also, when you are going to brake, normally you're going to brake a lot. It's like a hairpin.
Yeah, there are some significant...
or a right angle corner.
Yeah, there are some ridiculous Ks later.
So it's like you're going to know that's... Because it's like every other corner that's not right angled or hairpin, you can probably just burn it and hope for the best.
Or excessively slide it, sort of slow you down.
Yeah, or just mash the e-brake and go into a slide or whatever. Because that's on spacebar, obviously. But then the other thing I kind of don't like about the controls, which must be the same on the Xbox controller, but it's just that you can only cycle through your power-ups in one direction. I just find that really distracting.
Yeah, I think you're right, from what I remember.
It's like, I always get that. I always get confused about what power-up I want, and it's like... Because the thing is, you've got WASD from accelerate, brake, and steer, but then on your other hand, you've got up, down, left, right for the power-up controls. So you've got forward fire, backwards fire, then left to switch weapon and right to dump it.
Yeah, right.
So initially I was dumping quite a lot of weapons by accident, because it's like, I want to go to the next weapon to the right. Oh, no, wait. That's the dump weapon button. But I got used to that eventually. Just remember not to ever push right.
Yeah.
Just fire it off anyway, regardless of whether you need it or not. But then because you're pushing that one button to cycle through the weapons, and I also find it annoying that because it doesn't cycle to empty slots, that always fucks me up when I've got 2 weapons. Because it's like, I'm coming up to pick up a third weapon, but if I push the cycle weapon button slightly before I've picked it up, it goes back to the first slot instead of going to the one that I've just picked up. Because it thinks it's trying to go to an empty slot.
Oh, yeah, of course, it has to. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because it can't go to an empty slot.
Yeah.
So that screws me up occasionally, where I'm just pushing it slightly too soon, and then it's like, oh, wait, I've just fired off all of my weapons. Fuck. But yeah, keyboard controllers are okay. It seems to be working for me, anyway. Cool. If my online races are any indication.
It's quite pretty, though.
Yeah.
I do love the crazy glare.
And the car models are actually pretty awesome.
Yeah, the actual cars are really quite
considering
well
it's all actual cars.
Yeah.
It's like, how did they get away with this? I guess it's because the cars don't ever, like, blow up. They just get cosmetic damage, basically. They never turn into a Hulk, like a blown-up Hulk or whatever.
They take a reasonable amount of beating.
Yeah, but it's not like... And also, nothing really falls off.
No, that's true.
It all just bends but stays attached.
And hangs and dangles a bit. And...
I wonder if that is why they... It's like... Is that, like, the concession that they... For these manufacturers, or was that just how it was always going to be?
Yeah, maybe. But they've got a bit of a subset of the manufacturers. It's not like, a lot of like top racing games like Need for Speed and things like that actually managed to get quite a large number of top manufacturers and things like Lambo.
Well, yeah, but I guess they weren't going for those ones, really.
No, there's a reasonable something like there's VW and there's Ford and...
Yeah, they were going for like more like standard cars
more like
than like Ferraris and shit.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of Fords.
Yeah.
There, and honestly,
well, it's because they've got all the Fords and all like Chevrolet and stuff.
Yeah, and they like Scirocco's and as I say, it's a shame because then they sort of sort of double up some of the models, don't they? Later on, like you get the Ford Focus ST, and then later on you'll get like a rally version of it or something with like extra splitters and stuff on it.
Yeah, but that's not.
It's a bit cheap.
Well, the other thing about it is like the cars are almost entirely pointless. It's like,
almost.
Just choose one that you like and then you don't even have... I only use griffy cars because I don't understand how drift is any use at all.
Oh, really?
Because that just slows you down so much.
I use balanced.
I only use griffy and maybe off-road if it happens to be like the one course where there's significant off-road.
Oh, well, grippy's good at first, but as the courses get windier, grippy cars just don't turn as well. You need the drift to...
I can't see how drift... I mean, it slows you down more, I guess, to get you around.
Yeah. No, I find as you get later on in the game, drifty cars get more useful.
Also, the first couple of drift cars that I tried just felt really fat. It's like they were super heavy. It's like before you got into a drift, they didn't turn virtually at all.
Yeah, that's the point. They don't. Their normal turning circle isn't as.
But they just felt really heavy, and it kind
of
sucked. And I was like, "Screw this! I'll go back to driving precision."
Yeah, I wonder if you'll find the same things because I had exactly the same thought when I first started playing it. But then, as the game went on, I needed driftier cars.
And the Land Rover is clearly the best off-road car.
Yeah. Although again, off-road gets filtered out as you go through the game.
Well, it's like
there aren't any
even at the start there was only pretty much one track that had that one. It's like the one off-road track.
There's a couple of tracks that are quite dirty, but it's in the game where an off-roader would be quite useful. And off-roads are quite good if you plan on driving the water routes.
Well, yeah,
on some of the sluice levels, but it's on the version where it's filled with water anyway.
But you just climb out of the water onto the slope.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you're driving normally, yeah, you just go off on the ridge. But but anyway, great game.
Yeah.
It's still a great game.
So that's
Play it more.
Yeah.
Blur.
I don't think there's anything else. Or was there? Oh wait, I was going to do the recurring theme of what I'm not playing. Still not playing Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah.
And this is why. It's because I go and look at the website and see all the bugs he's been fixing, because he posts twice a week or something with all the things he's been fixing. And I'm like, holy shit, look at all these awesome stuff that he's fixing that have been really annoying me for ages. And then once he posts a release, I'm like, oh look, he posted a release, I should download that. Then I forget about it. And then when I come back the next day, he's posted another list of bugs he's fixed. It's like, oh, those are awesome bugs to be fixed as well. Well, I guess I'll just wait for the next release. And so the cycle continues.
Oh, I just had another thought about Blur.
Yeah.
On the PC version, did they bother turning on the music by default? Because I thought that was kind of weird. They have this excellent soundtrack, but on the Xbox, it's turned off by default.
I don't know. Well, there was an option to turn something in music on, and I was like, yeah, I'll turn that on. So I guess that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What does it sound like when you don't have that turned on?
Well, it's just silent.
Oh, is it?
There is no game music with that off.
Weird.
It's by default, and in the Xbox beta, in the beta there wasn't any music, so apart from the menu music, so it kind of...
Because when it said,
okay,
I think it said licensed or something, licensed music, and I was like, maybe that means that you have the open source version of the music where it's all shittier, and then you have the proper music. And it's like, why would you want to turn that off?
No, it just turns it off completely as far as I know. So it's yeah, I don't know why, because it's such a great soundtrack.
It's a bit weird in places.
Well, there are some weird choices, like the sort of jazzy one is a bit strange.
It
makes sense for the destruction events because it's kind of casual for some reason, but for the actual racing, you want the chemist mixers, damn it.
It's just the way it fades into it. It's mainly the way that it remembers the position it is in the song. So you finish a race and it fades back into a menu music, and then when you start a race, it's like dong, and then it fades back into the track exactly where it left off. That's kind of weird.
It's a bit strange.
But yeah, and then Dwarf Fortress. Oh, or then not Dwarf Fortress.
Not Dwarf Fortress.
He's doing some awesome shit at the moment, though. This next, I keep saying this as I just said, but I think this next release might be awesome enough to make me play it because he's doing actual fixing hauling, so that because it used to be say a dwarf is eating a fruit or something in the dining room. You eat the fruit and it produces one or more seeds, which you have to put in the seed store. Except each individual seed creates a hauling job, and then an individual dwarf has to pick up an individual seed and haul it all the way to the seed store. And it's wow, that's really bad. But apparently now he's started working on the hauling system to make it so that it actually
batches things.
Well, sort of, I'm not sure how he's done it, but it seems like it's just going to, instead of assigning the haul job to the seed, it's going to assign the haul job to the seed container, and then a dwarf picks up the seed container and goes around and scoops up all the seeds, which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Basically, he's also started working on mine carts, which is the idea that you can haul more than one thing at once, is basically the thing that's coming. Wheelbarrows and mine carts and pack animals, maybe. So you might actually be able to haul shit around slightly more efficiently. Because the way I used to do it, when you want to clear out a room of, off-cut rock or whatever that's just been left over from mining, it's just wait until your population is about 50 and then designate the entire room and then just have a massive dwarf swarm that runs in and shifts it all. It's they're not doing anything else, whatever. Although that does make me worry about the economy. Not that the economy is properly implemented, really, in Dwarf Fortress, but because the idea is that it paid for each individual job they do, and because in my fortresses I don't really, because a lot of people just have every dwarf that's idle just goes around and smooths stone or engraves stuff just to keep them occupied. But I don't really. Most of the time I have my main population just stands there in the meeting hall and each individual specialist goes and does their individual jobs or whatever, and then the main group is just for hauling, and there's now if there's going to be less hauling they'll get paid less and then they'll all be poor and they won't be able to afford anything. Disaster.
You have to worry about your money then.
Well, it's not really your money, it's their money.
Well, I know, but is it possible for if they're getting paid for the jobs that they do, who's paying them? And is there a limit to those funds?
But they're paid by the government or whatever. The government of it's internally, whenever they do a job, they get paid out of, money just gets created, basically.
Yeah, that was where my question was going.
It is a basic, governmental economy where they're getting paid for labour, and then they pay that money back to rent rooms and buy food and that kind of stuff. So they can get kind of screwed if they don't have any cash. I mean, they have stuff that's basically free for free when you have no cash. The shittiest kind of mushroom that you can eat is free for when you don't have any money. This is what the poor people live on.
The shittiest kind of mushroom.
Plant helmets. It's the basic kind of food for dwarves. Eat those mushrooms. Right. But the economy never has been properly implemented, so most people just turn it off because it's really just a pain in the ass. And coins are horrible. Never ever make coins, because although you have this economy, basically dwarves have super brains that can calculate exactly how much money they have at all times, regardless of what the hell they've just spent or how much work they've done.
Right?
They have internal credit cards that just do everything for you. But if you mint coins, you're fucked. You make a huge pile of coins, and then obviously because you need to pay one or something, so you get one individual coin, and then because stacks still aren't programmed properly, they can't recombine stacks, so eventually you just end up with 1 million individual coins lying around all over the place.
Oh dear.
So don't do that, ever.
Physical currency, no.
Yeah. Bad idea, apparently.
Stick with the internal head credit cards.
Yep. Much more efficient.
Headed cards.
So that's that. Done.
Right.
Someone else talk.
Rob
needs to talk because
he's
been asleep for 5 minutes.
A little bit.
Now I'm going to go to sleep for 5 minutes.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
I have been finishing Duke Nukem.
Oh yeah, at last.
Come on, it took me like 11 hours.
Yeah,
it's relatively long. I actually kind of enjoyed it in a stupid way. It doesn't really, as Rick described it, it's not good, but it's somehow enjoyable.
Right.
There's a certain. It does feel like a game that would have been good 15 years ago.
Right.
Like, if it came out when it was first intended, then it would have been pretty amazing. But it didn't. And as such, it does feel like a relic. But that's not really a bad thing. The whole game is basically built on nostalgia in a way nowadays. You know, they sort of played to that strength. And it kind of works because of it. It's the combat is fairly simplistic, as I mentioned before, but the guns feel good. Even though there are some inordinate difficulty spikes with certain enemy types, like the Octa. I forget what they're called, like Octa Kings or something. No, the Octa King is a boss, but it's Octobrain. That's it. With like these floating tentacle monsters that have the ability to sort of basically gravity gun shit and throw it at you, including your own pipe bombs and rockets, which is kind of neat. But if you come across like 3 of them, that's a hard fight ahead of you all of a sudden, because it's like they're throwing shit at you constantly, and because they're flying, you basically don't really have much in the way of cover, and their projectiles are kind of splashy, so it's hard to sort of like, if they miss you, they'll probably still land nearby and hurt you, and because it's regenerating health, that means you're basically spending most of your time in your about to die state. So actually, this is when you get 3 of those in a fight, it's quite difficult. Sudden difficulty spike, and they were only the times I really struggled with the game most was in those fights, and to the point where you just get so frustrated. Right, I'm going to drink the magical health providing beer and go into super blurro vision, so I can't see what the fuck I'm shooting at, but I know I won't die.
Right. Okay.
So it's yeah, it's a bit insane. It also throws in a few rudimentary physics puzzles every now and then. Like, fill up this thing with barrels, make something balance.
Wow, straight out of 2004.
I know, check it out.
Duke Nukem is all about physics.
Yeah, clearly.
And puzzles.
I know. Well, there's even a Valve puzzle where you have to, like, where it makes a specific reference going, I hate Valve puzzles. Probably in, like, reference to Half-Life-y type stuff.
What's funny about that, though?
I don't know, just like referencing them, like, because
Valve make good puzzles.
Well, no, they're all
That's
practically.
Why he hates them.
But they were all practically.
Who hates puzzles?
Well, that's the thing. You can't really. I find it hard to look back at Half-Life 2 and say the puzzles were good because they were essentially fill stuff with other stuff, which is exactly what Duke Nukem's doing. So they're like parodying it after a while.
Yeah, but that was quite a long time ago. What, 8 years ago? Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's a reference. There you go.
Yeah.
And the game has got quite a few of them.
But you could argue that all the puzzles in both Portal games are Valve puzzles. The puzzles made by Valve that are.
I guess, but
pretty good.
You know, I suppose Valve would be, while they were writing this thing, I guess would have been more known for their seesaw puzzles.
I suppose, yeah.
Of which there are quite a few. But the puzzle in question where he actually says it is literally a physical Valve puzzle.
Yeah,
you have
of course.
to move pipes in order to get steam to a certain place.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So the reference is slightly more adequate, I suppose. I don't know, it's occasionally quite funny what he says. You know, just the random one-liners are just kind of cool. So there's something about his voice. You know, it's just that John St. John, or whoever he is, which is also a cool name, in fairness. They could have just called Duke Nukem John St. John, you know? It's like, John St. John is John St. John. It would have been awesome.
Vince McMahon.
McMahon.
That is a quality name, also. Yeah, but the weird thing is that it sort of does tail off. Like, the ingenuity is entirely in the first half of the game.
Right.
Like, all the bits that sort of make people a bit pissed off, I think, with the concept in general, like the strip club, like the pregnators, like the slightly twisted hive that is actually quite disturbing.
That's horrible.
Yeah. They're all happening within the first half of the game.
Right.
And the second half, the majority of it is a Half-Life 2 style vehicle section,
Right.
Where you drive your monster truck around, which runs out of gas occasionally, forcing you to get out and go find some gas. One of which is in a kind of like, there's quite a lot of Wild West themed stuff at this point as well. So you like have a classic shanty town that looks straight out of like, I don't know, a western of some kind. With bars with like the swinging doors and stuff like that,
all
and
that
rafters
stuff.
and stuff. And there's a bit of a shootout, which is kind of funny. Just to get gas. Oh, and there's a winch puzzle there as well for the hell of it. And then there's a quick minecart section, which is super quick, just to get more stuff, and then you carry on. But it's kind of Half-Lifey in that you're driving around in a car, you get somewhere, you have to do something, get out, get back in the car, drive some more, blah 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 blah. It kind of felt very familiar, you know what I mean? It's like and I wonder if that was the plan originally, and it's like, if they'd released it earlier, it's like, oh, holy crap, maybe they actually came up with the idea first, and then just sort of like, because it never got released, it now feels derivative. It's hard to tell.
Could be, but it's such a long time ago.
Yeah. Because that was the bit that was actually set in the area that looked like the very first original screenshots.
Yeah.
The sort of
that old miner guy.
Yeah. It's like, they removed old miner guy. He wasn't there.
Damn. They should at least like meta-reference their own crap from their own period of development.
Right at the start, where he's playing the game.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the few screenshots that there were, they should have like somehow done a riff on or something. Like the rocket launching with the kind of general guy, and like you say, the old miner guy in the Quake 2 engine.
They should have made him playing the game. They should have made him playing the old game. It should have been like CNC Commando, where the guys in the aircraft carrier, their command screen is Command and Conquer. That's funny.
That's brilliant.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
It's I can't go too far about talking. I'll back up what I said before about the graphic presentation. In some areas, it's actually really impressive. Like the lighting model is actually pretty.
Well, that's
quality.
it. It's like they said that I've seen in the reviews and stuff. It's like the geometry and stuff, and some of the textures are like old. But then Gearbox have come in and just said, "What kind of crazy graphical effects can we just layer on top of this shit? What kind of bump mapping crap and reflection-y lighting stuff can we just add into these old levels and just make work?"
And that stuff actually looks really good. It has to be said. Like, one of the neatest little details that I thought was quite nice was that the freeze gun has a little like red warning light on it that sort of spins. And you know how often like gun maps just, you know, the effects they just apply to the gun. Like, this is a real light that's in the world. So you walk up to objects and stuff and you shine your red glow on them from the gun and they react. And, you know, it's a little touch, but it just kind of, the whole lighting model is filled with that kind of little touch stuff. And it's like, that
I suppose when you've
really
got
quality,
like relatively low poly environments, you can go to town on all the other crazy effects.
It's like, the character models are a little low poly in places, and some of the environments are so bland.
Yeah.
There's a construction site in particular that's just fucking awful.
Yeah.
And then you've got other areas like the Hive, that, you know, the creepy, horrible Hive actually looks pretty good in places. And again, they go to town on the lighting in there because they can make it all shiny and stuff. Like, you get these weird glowworm things that sort of like roll up when they feel threatened. But they also act as a power source for a few doors. So you have to push them around. And while you're pushing them around, they're lighting up this incredibly dark environment with their glow. And it looked really cool, the way they move through it. So there's some seriously actually really good effects in there. It's just unfortunate that it happens to be partnered with a rather large turd pile at the same time. Almost literally. The turds look very shiny, I have to say.
Yeah. No one's managed to like make a good turd texture yet. I don't think. I don't think I've seen that in a game. They're always too shiny.
No game has a good poo.
Yeah, they're too shiny.
I suppose the best poo was in Conker's Bad Fur Day.
No, that one wasn't shiny enough. That was like,
well, it was flat on the N64, but shiny on the Xbox.
Yeah, they missed at both ends.
Yeah.
Like, it was too flat on the N64 and too shiny on the Xbox.
They went too far.
So they still didn't succeed. No good poo.
A quick word on the ending. It is shit.
Yep.
But it's self-referentially shit, to the point where Duke Nukem goes, "What kind of shit ending was that?"
Awesome.
Which is kind of funny. But you do get a nice bonus for completing the game. You do get like a set of historical stuff. So you get like a load of the original release trailers, like from 1999.
Really?
Like in the game, and then like a 2003 trailer, and then what I think were gameplay videos that were never released because they almost specifically show the crapness that was in the game. Like there's one in particular that shows us a scene like that was supposedly near the start of the game, where it looks like it should have been near the start of the game, where two janitors are sort of talking to each other and they high five and stuff. But the facial animation is all fucked up, so their heads basically jiggle about like those videos of pills here, the Left 4 Dead spoofs where they mess on the face. They look a bit like that because they're sitting there just going, nah. And this guy has a mop that has only the bottom half, so he's like using this mysterious invisible mop. It's a bit mental. They specifically show you this kind of shit that was in the game, like circa 2006.
Lol.
It was like, so that's kind of funny. And neat that they showed it. The weird thing is, though, looking at those videos, they probably had about 3 entire games at that point because they changed quite radically.
Yeah.
Between the things. I mean, the HUD has been through like 4 or 5 iterations on its own that they demoed, which is the weird thing. And like, it was only until like about 2007, I think, where some of the assets that were actually used in the finished game, you sort of can actually start seeing. It's like the stuff early on with the Wild West, they obviously kept the theme from the Western
but they
stuff,
just dumped everything.
but got rid of it. Yeah. It's like there's none of the original stuff seems to be there from the start. Well, with the exception of the Lady Killer Casino, I think that's been there since relatively early. But
sure.
Yeah, they probably could have released like just a couple of those games and been all right if they'd have just released them at the time.
Yeah, but they were like, no, they didn't. They were halfway into creating something new every time.
Yeah,
every year they were like, oh well, we could release all this old stuff, but we got all this new stuff. Let's just do it all again. It is. And then the next year, same deal.
It is weird, especially now given that most of 3D Realms' talent now actually works for Gearbox as well.
Yeah, well,
it's also slightly strange. But yeah, and the other thing I want to point out is, as Nvidia did make a bit of a big deal of Duke Nukem when it came out, but they sort of started using them as the face on the homepage, saying you need this graphics card for this,
yeah, really.
That kind of stuff, which is bullshit in fairness, but. It is 3D vision ready, so I had to give it a go, and it's perfect.
Was right.
The 3D is perfect, so well done. Not a single effect goes wrong, not one. It's like the frustratingly, possibly the best gaming version of 3D I've seen.
Lol.
Which is
can't be that difficult though.
Well, I guess not.
True.
No, but they didn't even fuck up. They didn't fuck up all the crazy lighting models, which is where this stuff normally goes wrong. Particles and lighting maps and stuff is usually where 3D fucks up. Like, so engines will optimize it out so it only works in one eye or something, or something will just glitch out on occasion. And there was, I tell a lie, there was one point where there was a glitch where a reflection went wrong and it didn't appear in one eye.
Right.
But that happened once throughout the entire game, and I played most of it in 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, it did start to make my system struggle a bit when running it in 3D. There were certain sections. The Hive, it didn't like the Hive in 3D.
I wouldn't like the Hive in 3D.
War boobs.
I don't want 3D war boobs. That's horrible. Slimy green war boobs.
Yeah, that get kind of milky.
Horrible.
Lols.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But still kind of funny.
So Duke Nukem then?
Duke Nukem's alright, and I did try some of the multiplayer, and it actually seems relatively well balanced. The multiplayer's, it's a bit throwaway, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of fun. If I could get into a game that wasn't so lag heavy. I did end up in several that were like 2 seconds of lag, like on my ping times. And inexplicably as well, because it seemed to come up with like 40 to 50 ping in the lobby. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as the game started, here, have a 2000. Oh, fuck's sake. While everyone else jumped to 200, which still isn't good. So the netcode's probably a bit shit, or maybe I've got issues, or some sort of port issue or something, because no one's was as high as mine. And the graphics aren't nearly as good, like they are from the 5 years ago category on the multiplayer stuff. But it's kind of fun. It's very lethal. It's very quick. It's very arena shootery, but quite fun. And so it's a bit of a shame that it doesn't really work for me, because I might have played it a little bit. They've gone for a crazy leveling system as well, where the more you play, the more shit you unlock for your house. Like, and you can go into this house and just have a wander around. It's this enormous mansion and stuff, and you can hire babes for it, which is utterly stupid, to like a maid and stuff, and the people who just walk around and fill it, and you can get the pinball table and the air hockey. Oh, I have to mention the air hockey, because Kip has brought this up when he first started talking about it, like the air hockey being the shittest minigame ever.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. It's quite easy, but the weird thing about it was like the animation of your opponent, because he basically sits on the table, putting his head like right next to the I don't know what even you call it, but the thing that you hold in your hand, sort of like round thing. I don't know. I still can't think of a decent name. But his head's like follows it around, so he's like inches away from his thing at all times. It looks like he's having a bit of a spasm or something, or he's just completely drunk on the table, just going, and he goes around in circles until the puck sort of comes near him, and then goes, it's like. And he hits it really gently, so it's like super easy to just then go bang and win. So it's like, 7-0, achievement for winning 7-0, job done. Moving on. Conversely, the pinball table is also, I think, was probably shitter. Like the balls of steel pinball table. Like the physics don't make any fucking sense for starters, and it's like. Didn't expect much from it, to be honest. But there's an achievement for like getting 1 million points on it, which I spent like an hour or so just trying to get, because it's really hard. It's like the ball will just inexplicably just go like bounce off too often the ball will just go straight down the middle where your flippers can't reach.
Right. And
unless you realise it very quickly, you have tilt, like nudge controls that will nudge the ball left and right, like with a tilt warning and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't get enough time to sort of do it and flip, and the flippers are sort of floppy. So it's like, it's a bit shit. But there's an achievement that you have to work for. Yeah. There's a Portal reference as well, which is in the achievement list, so it's not really a spoiler, but there's a companion barrel at one point that you have to carry through a level, a bit like the classic gnome challenges.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not too bad. I wouldn't don't pay a lot of money for it, but give it a look. It's still fun.
Duke Nukem then.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you've been playing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have started playing Splosion Man at last. It's quality.
Really?
Yeah. It's just an extension of Splosion Man, but it starts out... I think a lot of people were complaining that Ms. Splosion Man was easier than Splosion Man. So far, I think it's been harder.
Well, I heard people saying that it's harder to see what the fuck's going on.
Oh, right near the start of the game, yeah, true. There's a few segments where you have to jump, like you end up in this sort of like cityscape, and there's like flying cars and stuff, and you have to... every now and then they'll collide into each other, and you have to make your jump off at the right angle and stuff to land on another platform below or something. And that's kind of hard to see when stuff's about to happen and where you have to go, admittedly. But the rest of the game's fine.
I think the suggestion that like the pink, for some reason, pink is less visible than orange. Something about the colour of the pinkness compared to like all the snazzy new backgrounds and shit makes it less distinguishable.
Maybe. And I think it might have just been less distinguishable anyway, because yeah, you're right, everything's a little bit more snazzy with their new version of beard.
And something to do with, I think it was when it does those explosions where it creates a silhouette. I think people are having problems with that because it's like like a freeze frame except you're still moving.
Yeah, no, that can be a little odd. I think the bit where that's most strange, and it took me a little while to get used to actually, is they've introduced this new mechanic where the background is basically all pink.
Right.
And when you go on it, you turn black, silhouetted against it. And then, of course, your explosions are creating silhouettes of yourself. So it's kind of, at first, it took me a while to see what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
And then I realised that you get infinite splodes during that, and you can sort of like, if you just follow the silhouette that's moving. And it's like, often the trick with that is that the animation she's doing in the air is actually different from the silhouette that it's created.
Right.
So if you just keep following the one that's doing the animation that you started jumping with, then it's fine. But yeah, those sections are kind of fun because you have to sort of balance your jumps and kind of make sure you don't jump too far, jump too less, and then you get like patches of them where it's like you have to aim for this patch of infinite splode and then go splode while you can, and then so they're kind of cool. the sort of turrety. Oh, there's fat people are back.
Yes.
But they're a fat woman that you now take control of.
Not nearly as cool, no. I think.
It's not as cool as Hugging Donut Man.
Not as good song.
Yeah, but the donut, you can always get to the donut song now. Whenever you pause the game, there's the donut song.
Yes.
So it's always accessible. Yes. But it's kind of cool. It's a much slicker presentation than the first.
Oh, I see.
Splosion Man was only their second game,
I
think. And so they were still trying to find their way. The Beard engine has come on a reasonable way, meaning it's just generally prettier. There's a bit more going on. And, the Splosion Man jabbering is still kind of funny, even if she is mostly spouting, like, female vocal lights, pop songs.
Yeah, I don't find that...
the single ladies! The single ladies!
I don't think that's nearly as funny.
Well, no, it's because it's less internet meme film.
Well, yeah. That makes it less funny. Get to the chopper.
But there is more of it. She said...
Yeah, different things.
There's a much bigger variety in what she says. And they go more cinematic with sequences during the level as well. So every now and then you'll get something that happens and there's a nice camera angle to show it happening and things like that, which didn't get. The boss fights are considerably more epic. There's also, because they've gone a bit world mappy as well, so you go through the things with a world map. And I haven't yet found one, but they've got the concept of secret exits now as well, so you have to unlock certain levels by finding a special way out of the level, of which I know one exists that I haven't been able to get to. Mainly because I haven't played very much, and mainly because, I haven't been bothered to replay any levels yet. Get through it and then go back style.
Mm.
I might go try that one again, because I think I know where it is, but I haven't bothered looking. Oh, and grind rails.
Yeah.
Which are kind of cool, if tricky to pull off in places. It's like they did the game... There are some elements that are a bit strange. Like, it goes to the effort of giving you this tutorial on how to do basic sploding at the start.
Right.
And then just starts throwing mechanics at you that it doesn't explain. If you know what I mean. So it's a bit inconsistent, in a way. Because it's like, here's this lovely tutorial taking the piss out of, good Splosion Man and terrible Splosion Lady. Splosion Ladies. I mean, Splosion Lady and Splosion Lady. One called Debbie, who nobody likes apparently. So they make her explode all the time and die. Which is kind of cool. Well done. And then there's nothing again. So it's like, what the fuck does this do? What the shit does this do? Oh, I'm going to have to figure it out again, aren't I? Which is both kind of cool, but, as I say, just inconsistent.
Well, it's kind of like they almost forgot that they made new mechanics. It's like, we'll make a tutorial for exploding because it's funny, but then we forget that there's actual other mechanics in this game that might need to be explained as well.
Yeah, it talks about barrels and grind rails, but then it doesn't talk about the pink pads, it doesn't talk about getting shot, it doesn't talk about the fat people. You just have to figure all that out for yourself.
Did it actually
buttons, it doesn't even talk about buttons.
Did it actually explain the fat dude in this normal Explosion Man?
No, you had to figure it out.
It was just like you just ran into him and picked him up for some reason.
Yeah, basically. There was that sequence where he's like, woohoo! Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to play more of that. It's quality so far.
Splosion.
We still need to finish the multiplayer from the first.
We're never going to.
Why not?
I don't know. I just get a feeling it's going to get too hard.
Well, it's quite harder, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
But yeah, we should at least try. God damn it. It's a quality game.
That's your Twitter pixel fun?
Yeah. There was something else, but I can't remember.
Okay.
How can you
come back to it?
Yeah, you guys carry on. What do you mean, how can I not remember? Do you know what it is?
No, I was just saying that you've only mentioned two things so far.
It's been a busy week.
Got a new job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
So, I better do some Mass Effect, hadn't I?
Oh,
a little bit. If you guys have got questions, I hope.
Have you finished it yet?
No, I haven't finished it, so it'll be next time for all the ending
controversy.
The controversy without spoilers for you guys. Fun.
What do you think?
Have you avoided all the
yeah,
spoilers?
Pretty much. I think I've just from things that I've vaguely seen, I think I can piece it together.
Oh, sure.
Don't think it's that difficult to work out. Well,
I have to admit, the internet's been pretty good with not just giving it away. They've sort of they tell you that it's bleak. But the word bleak comes up quite a lot, but that's all I know.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, what do you think about the, how shitty the side quests are and how bad the like flying around the universe mechanics are now.
Okay, well, the side quest, you mean the multiplayer shoehorned into the single
that
player?
as well.
The N7. Oh, the whole
as
side
well
quest
as just,
in
like,
general.
generic, go get a thing side quest.
Well, the thing is, like, it's very... The whole game is very cinematic. Like, the cutscenes and all... Well, they're all in-engine, right? Cutscenes. Well, almost all. Well, almost entirely in-engine. People talking and stuff, but also action sequences and stuff and everything. I mean, they're really impressive. I mean, the voice acting's really good. The camera work's good and stuff. But at some point, it's like... Do you guys just want to make films or something? Because it's like, they're really good.
There's quite a lot of it, though.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit. Obviously, they're partially interactive because they occasionally will get a prompt for dialogue, like, or Paragon Renegade action. Yeah, in the middle of these sort of cutscene things. So there's quite a bit of, I mean, they put that in or whatever. But I was thinking of an example of, like, there's a bit where an enemy force, I won't say who, attack the Citadel or whatever, and you're fighting and you're doing your corridor shooting or whatever, and then there's a bit where you get in a car and there's this whole fight scene where you're fighting people on top of flying cars flying around the Presidium, and it's all super awesome, but it's all cutscene, and then you land and it's shooting again, and it's like,
oh, why couldn't I do that?
Yeah, I didn't get to do any of that. If this was Uncharted, I'd be doing that.
If it was Vanquish,
yeah, exactly. But all those big, there are the meat of the game. It's mostly major missions, and it's like it's a long game. It is an RPG, but it's getting quite far away from that because it's like every bit is like planned out like every one of those missions. You can do them in different orders, but they're basically planned out like a Call of Duty level or an Uncharted level or whatever. It's like shooting in a very specially designed level corridor or whatever, or level with specially designed areas just for that mission, plus these cutscene bits, plus all this story exposition, plus all this massive stuff. And so there's a lot of that, and there's a lot of content there of these big, very polished, well-designed, but then the sort of RPG quests, they're super lightweight, obviously. So it's just fetch quests, usually because you, like, overhear somebody talking on the Citadel, like, oh, I need some, like, heating components or whatever, and then it pops up on your thingy, and you have to go and collect them or whatever.
Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's really dumb. Why would you do that? When there's a massive war and, like, your planet is currently being devastated, every minute counts, right? But it's like, what I could really do is some, like, heating elements for this thingy.
My kettle is on the right fritz. These space kettles are fucking shit.
Well, the thing is...
Feed my goddamn fish.
Yeah. To be honest, the main problem with it... Well, maybe not the main problem, but my problem is the quest manager thing, or whatever you call it, the quest log, is terrible.
Really?
It's awful. Like, you can't, like... Because
it was okay, like, the other games.
Well, it makes you appreciate how good it is in Skyrim, ironically, despite the fact the UI to get to it in Skyrim is awkward. All you do is, like, you activate it, and then it's like, oh, you go enjoy the quest, because you just follow the nav marker, and you just do the quest, and that's it. Whereas in this, it's like, you have to remember, and sometimes you can have found the thing that's needed, but it doesn't update the quest log to say return to the person and do it, or where they are. And then the map is really bad of, like, areas on the Citadel, so you have to kind of remember where they are or look it up online because it's quicker. And so those fetch quests, not only are they superfluous, they're really annoying to do. And then if you do enough of the main missions, they time out as well because things happen in the story. So you can get quests.
Side missions as you go.
Yeah, well, kind of, but it doesn't warn you that they're going to time out because they're just these little things like collect some heating things, and you don't even know where to look for them. And that's the thing. So the planet scanning, you have to go out. Often it's a fetch quest, but you have to go in your ship on the galaxy map and sort of scan. And the way you do scanning now is instead of going to the planet, going into orbit and scanning it properly, you sort of go around and then you emit a pulse by right-clicking or whatever it is on the controller. And so you just have to go near the planets and boost, and then you immediately know and scan, pulse, and you immediately know if there's stuff. But it's really annoying because it's like, it's hard to know whether you've scanned all the planets. And then the more you scan, the more the Reapers are, like, aware of you. And then they sort of spawn in on the galaxy map and kind of...
You told us about this.
Yeah, they kind of run you down. Anyway, but then you can just leave and go back in. It's really dumb. But yeah, so like the little quests are. But what was the other thing you were saying?
Oh, about that scanning. It's like, would you have preferred to have mining?
Well,
would you have preferred like a game mechanic rather than just like just fly around a bit?
Well, I thought it was all right in 2. I preferred how it was in 2, even though it was time consuming. I thought it made
time consuming.
It made more sense. They just needed to streamline it a bit rather than
tell you when you could seriously stop now.
Yeah,
you don't need to do any more.
But they just seem to have taken it all out. So I'm just doing the serious content with the big cinematic. And as I say, it's very sweeping and another thing that's cinematic about it is the dynamic range on the audio is huge, which is very annoying because you have to have it up so that you can hear people's conversation when you're just chatting to somebody on some planet or whatever. But then as soon as there's a massive cinematic, it's like, holy shit, this is loud. Yeah. And the worst thing is when you're on the galaxy map and it has the plink, plunk, 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 plunk music, same as ever, and you're looking around, and then you go to a mass relay and it goes, boom! It's a huge bang every time you go anywhere. It's really weird. Anyway, yeah.
We don't need any more stupid music for our podcast endings.
We totally do. It's that same music.
Except now it's more like Reaper horn.
The Reaper horn is a good sound, though. It has a menace to it. The Reaper horn.
I don't know if it does.
I think it does. It's like their weapon, isn't it? As well, just the sound of their weapon. Yeah, but anyway, so I'm in the midst of the game, and I've totally, despite the fact that Earth is being destroyed every second, I've basically forgotten about it.
Yeah, basically.
Like Admiral Hackett occasionally turns up and talks to you, and presumably he's in some secure location, but I think he is on Earth, or at least Anderson is on Earth, and he's like, yo, yeah, the war's not going that well. Come back sometime soon. In the meantime, you're pottering around being Mass Effect-y. Yeah. But the thing is that now...
Shepard, I've decided to present this message in musical form. We're fucked, we're fucked. Come back soon.
But now, in the second game, there were a few big areas that you could wander around, but now, whatever, and there were shops and nightclubs and things. What were those? That Smuggler's Moon place where Arya lived, and then there was the place where Liara was, or whatever.
Yeah.
That planet, civilized, giant, city planet. My problem with those was always it's this massive city planet, but I only get to walk around a few square inches of this little tiny place.
Yeah.
And it didn't do that well for my suspension of disbelief. And also Tachanka, it's like an entire planet of Krogan, and you just walk around inside a garage, basically.
Yeah.
And it's like, this doesn't really... But in this game, all the content are these massive big levels. You're always going in and fighting, and there's drop ships and all this stuff. But there are none of those hub worlds. It's just the Citadel, which is big. The Citadel has multi-levels, but there's no RPG villages, effectively, which is what those other things represented in other games. So it's complete. It's like there is one hub, and then there are missions off it, but it doesn't feel like that because you get into your spaceship. And then you go to the missions. So it's like your spaceship is kind of an elaborate menu if you think about the galaxy map. But and then of course there's so there's two areas. There's the Citadel and your ship itself, which has multi levels and has people to talk to and all that stuff. So that's all the same as it was. Yeah, but mission-wise, I think it's split into acts, and I've done a big cumulative ending of an act where something meaningful happened, and obviously characters die and stuff. But none of it has been because you know how ending of L.A. Noire, it's they didn't need to die. Well, that was unnecessary. Yeah. Nothing like that has happened so far. It's all been really well done. Yeah, okay, cool. Again, it makes me think, how the hell would this scene have worked if that character hadn't survived the previous game? Because I wouldn't care about whoever
the random guy
replacement. Yeah, so I don't know how that would work. But as it is, and for you as well, for almost anyone playing it who didn't severely commit to the ending of Mass Effect 2 and allow the people to die that did, which even I didn't, because I wanted to see a particular character. Like,
yeah.
again,
you accidentally let the one character that you wanted to
see. Yeah, and he was the character that, that was in the thing recently. That I don't know. That doesn't give too much away, but it was totally worth having. It's totally worth having these characters in this game. Well, they're all going to die eventually, aren't they? I mean, probably Shepard dies in the end, I don't know.
They're probably going to do the...
Everyone's going to die eventually, the universe is going to end.
No, but it's a massive Reaper war. Obviously, all your compatriots will be presumably picked off one by one, although that hasn't been happening.
In the noblest, epic squad.
In the noblest death fashion, I suppose, of Reach, where it's like...
Noble deaths. Yeah, it's like Reach in that way. They're cool deaths. Well, not that I've seen that many yet. I've had the Jacob mission, by the way. There is a Jacob mission where he turns up.
Did he die? I won't mind if you spoil that.
Have they animated his face better?
Damn it, he hasn't died yet.
Do his teeth move?
His face seemed okay. It did seem a bit better, but they are obviously the same models, just updated a bit. I don't know if I've seen the end of his story, but I hope that is the end of it, just that one mission or whatever. But that was fine. That was an okay mission, I guess.
What was his loyalty mission for Mass Effect 2? Because I can remember...
I was the one about his dad, and you were on that planet with the massive crashed spaceship.
And he had, psychically controlled them or something.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's right.
Or drugged them or something. And he had, a harem of women.
Yeah.
And they were like... Grr. And then you killed them all.
It was a weird one. It wasn't a very good one.
I don't remember it at all.
There were some really good loyalty missions, but that clearly, not a good character, and not a good loyalty mission or whatever. But he's quite relegated in this. Thank goodness. But yeah. And as I say, some really good acting. I mean, I don't know what it'd be like with the male Shepard now, because Jennifer Hale or whatever, she's so good as Femme Shep, as she's now known. Femme Shep. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, I did have that one bugged quest, at least one, and ones that just time out. It's really annoying because they could fix that quest manager log thing quite easily, and the map stuff. I don't know. So you end up just having to look up basically the main missions. You do like their levels or whatever, like you experience them. But then all the side stuff, you end up having to look that if you want to complete them, you have to look them up on the internet because that's the only way to know when you're allowed to. Because some of them appear, they're like fetch quests, but you can't. It doesn't tell you. But if you look it up on the internet, it's like, oh, you won't be able to complete this until after this main mission, or whatever. So it's like. And then there are other ones like, you must do this before this or it will time out, where it doesn't tell you that will happen. So it's like those little pointless fetch quests. And then there's the N7 missions, which are the multiplayer shoehorned into horde mode, shoehorned into the single player. But the thing is that they actually have reasonable cinematics where you're coming in and leaving, and a reasonable story explanation for why you want to go there. And you get to see the multiplayer arenas, which are really cool looking, which you wouldn't see otherwise if you didn't play multiplayer. So I think they're reasonable. I mean, I went to Benning. I was like, oh, it was just another N7 mission. And then it was actually a really cool level in this kind of big kind of city made out of almost massively stacked cargo containers that people were living in, or like units. It was like really cool, and it was like a sunset level, and yeah.
A bit like the slum bit of Jet Set Radio Future.
Yeah. Almost exactly like that, yeah. I like that level, with the 747 landing across it or something. Is that right?
Epic grinds.
Yeah. And it's weird, I don't really understand, because Cerberus seems to be, is a major enemy of yours in this, because you couldn't be fighting the Reapers all the time, because they're just so powerful, and you just mainly stay away from them. But Cerberus seems to have changed. In the first game, they were like a...
Bastards.
In the first game, they were like a weird criminal...
Secret experimentation.
Criminal syndicate. And in the second game, they were like... I don't know...
They were trying to make themselves as a force for good, weren't they? Like a rebel alliance. Almost.
But they had all these agents and stuff, so they were like a kind of secret spy thing going on. But now they seem to have a massive...
out for the interests of mankind.
Yeah, or whatever. But now they seem to have a massive standing army.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Why are they not fighting the Reapers? If they're looking out for the interests of mankind, you'd think protecting Earth would be quite important to them.
Yeah, you'd think so. But they don't seem to be helping with that. So there's obviously some... Well... I don't know what you occasionally see the elusive man in cutscenes, but he's obviously an enemy now. But yeah,
what the hell happened between them?
Yeah, it's mysterious. Well, and Miranda doesn't seem to be involved with him either. So I don't know. I don't really know what his agenda is. Basically, that's obviously the part of the story. But there's a lot of Cerberus fighting, which is cool. In fact, because the thing about the combat is it's basically the same as in 2, but the enemy AI and everything about it is improved. So which improves the combat because it's like now you've got in 2 it was like things came at you. You shot them. But now you've got like different classes of people you have to deal with in different ways and flanking units and big mech robots. And there's a lot more variety in the combat just because of that. The shooting's the same.
Sometimes I worry about that kind of stuff though, because as I say, Uncharted got more varied and made it into more of a clusterfuck.
Yeah, well this seems to have paid off reasonably well. I think. It feels more like a proper shooter in that way. But it better do, because that's mostly what the gameplay is now. You know, as I say, since they removed all the hubs and that the quests are like almost nothing now, just little things, occasional disagreements that you interfere with, persuade one way or the other, which there isn't that much of. There's the occasional paragon option in conversation, but mostly it's just you say the good thing or the bad thing, and you acquire the points.
This is my favourite Star of the Citadel.
Yeah, there hasn't been that many jokes like that. There's an irritating amount of jokes that are nostalgic reference jokes. Like, at least, I think 2 or maybe 3 times they've referenced how bad Shepard is at dancing. Like, in the main cutscenes, not even as a side joke. And, you know, stuff Shepherd like that. Shuffle. Yeah, all kinds of jokes about that. I kind of feel like it's more of an affront because my Shepard's a girl. Like, that's worse. If you say a girl is bad at dancing, that's a lot worse than saying a boy's bad at dancing, isn't it?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah. I will continue. I hope you guys do play it a bit. I predict that Zach will buy it, finish it in a week, come on the cast, and say nothing good about it at all. I think it will all be complaints, I would have thought. But I am enjoying it. Not as much as 2, I would say, but I mean, they really do those cinematics well. And the thing is that you care about the characters because you've been around them for so long. So it's like, this is actually awesome when some crazy thing happens because I know the world or whatever. So it's like, this is cool. But yeah, it'd be better if you played them in some places.
I wonder when the Terminator comes up.
I haven't seen any Terminators yet. The only Reapers I fought are the
standard ones.
Big squid ones. Yeah, the standard ones. Although, yeah, that's true. So, yeah. I just managed to get all of that in. I probably have loads more to say, but I can wait until the ending.
Do you really have that much more to say?
I don't know.
Not spoilery stuff, anyway.
No, it's hard to not to go into details and stuff, but yeah. Absolutely.
I played a bit more Dirt 3.
Yeah, I know.
Remembered what it was. I did the Gymkhana tutorials.
Oh, they're annoying. The tutorials are annoying because you have to get gold. Damn it!
Well, whereas that the platinums require like a perfect run.
I've got
an absolutely perfect run. And
they're bastards.
Cocking annoying.
Did you try and get platinums?
Yes.
Oh, why? Why you punish yourself?
I've got up to the spin challenge with them.
Fucking crazy.
They are. They are perfect runs. As I say, you can't miss a thing.
But a run takes like what?
A minute.
A minute. Okay, that's quite long. Yeah, okay.
The drift one was quite irritating.
I think it's crazy.
Because it seemed to like, how it detects the drift sometimes seems a bit flaky.
Some of those Gymkhana challenges later on, I had to watch YouTube videos.
Is there any point in me actually trying to platinum them?
No, I don't think so. Unless you want to kill yourself.
Because I can't remember if there's a Chivo attached to it. Or...
Well, I don't know. Look it up, but I wouldn't if I were you. I think just getting gold is good enough, I think.
I'm finding them a bit irritating.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You don't want to spoil the game just trying to get these impossible
I know, but it's just me, isn't it? If these are the first times I'm supposed to be doing it and it's already making it impossible. It's like, in my head, I'm just going, well, I need to get good at this now, otherwise I'm going to be shit at the rest of it.
No, you won't. It's fine. The main Gymkhana events where you have to compete against other people are really easy, provided you don't set it up super high or something. So I wouldn't worry. It's only those platinums that are really hard. So, yeah. Just
it takes me a few runs to do drift challenges as well.
Yeah, they're hard.
They're quite tricky.
Yeah, but there aren't that many of those.
But again, the scoring seems a bit weird on those as well. I could pull off this really epic long one and it's like 2 points. And then I'll do this one that's really quite shit but at high speed and it'll go 4 million points.
Yeah, maybe it's, multipliers need adjusting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's alright. And I ended up with the annoying F12, to activate a flashback thing with 1 million screenshots of just one level of gymkhana training. It's like, well, there's that same bit of track again. There's the same bit of track
Chase that fucking button.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Classic. Right, we're coming to the end of this cast.
Yep.
It's true. It's an observation I made and Zach confirmed.
Yep.
Yeah, indeed. What next time I'll have the ending of Mass Effect 3 that I won't be able to talk about because
that's true actually.
Unless you buy it and play it all the way through, if it's 30 quid, I
don't think that's going to happen quite yet.
Do you think?
Depends.
It's not going to get cheaper than that for a while.
I feel like I should hold out until Christmas and see if there's going to be an Origin Christmas sale to compete with Steam.
Yeah. I need to decide what my next long-term game is going to be because I have a choice between Saints Row and Assassin's Creed.
Oh, Saints Row, come on, we need to hear what that's about.
I guess.
But it depends on your girlfriend, I guess.
Yeah, I might be have to play while the cat is out.
So you'll just have to end up playing both. Yes. While you're screwed.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
they're quite long-term affairs. I forget how long the Assassin's Creed games take to finish, but it feels like forever.
Brotherhood's a long one. Yeah. So, yeah.
2 took fucking ages.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, Brotherhood's a long one in comparison to 2?
I don't know if it's the same or longer.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty long.
Bro button.
So, yeah, thank you for joining us on the Saladcast. Catch you next time for more gaming news and associated waffles.
Maybe some gaming news for about
sand and horses.
Yeah, sand and horses.
And grout.
And pineapple in a calzone with cheesecake and maple syrup. Bye.
What kind of shit ending was that?